All right, it's time. Another week of ZTGD Radio. This is episode 735 for February 27th, 2023. And on the show this week, we got everybody. We got Anthony.
Hello.
We got Drew.
Hi, this is President Joe Biden, and you're listening to ZTGD Radio.
That's not Joe Biden. We got Terrence.
What up?
Then we got the Wombat too.
Yes, sir.
Good Lord, there's a lot of motherfuckers up in this bitch. We have a lot of video games to talk about. We have a lot of news to talk about.
A lot of stuff happened.
Dude, it's crazy.
It's been a week.
It is crazy. Like, every video game that was supposed to come out last year is out now. And
Yeah.
there's just
too
news
much.
every 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's too much. It's video game overload. Like, I was looking at my thing. I'll talk about it when I talk about what I was playing. I'm like,
You were
you
were looking at your thing.
know what? Every time I do it, y'all don't have to point it out. We don't have to do it every
I mean, it's like a joke.
Don't look at your thing while we're talking to you.
You're right. That's my bad. You're right. I was looking at my list of games. I got to be very specific when I'm in the podcast because heaven forbid. Anyways, I was looking at my list of games and I was overwhelmed at the choices. I'm like, man, I don't even know what I want to get into. What game I want to play. Got to phrase it right so y'all can't twist it.
It's like, you're playing this awesome game that you need to finish this awesome game, and you got these 5 other awesome games like just laying there going, hey, why don't you play me?
Dude, don't even get me started.
Don't get me started.
Forget about it.
All right, why don't you kick it off, Drew? What are you playing?
Okay. So, all these awesome games that I have, and I sit here and play Overwatch 2.
Well, that sounds like a problem.
It definitely is a problem.
That sounds like a YP for sure.
4 people on this podcast have.
Yeah.
But yeah, playing Overwatch 2. Played with you guys last night. Still fine.
It's still fine. I love how they downplay the game that you've been playing regularly for 6 years. I mean, this game's aight.
It's fine. It's fine. I did. So there's a couple of things I did. So I jumped. They got a new ladder season for Diablo 2, and I was like, I really want to jump into the new ladder. So I started out Diablo 2 again. Made an assassin this time. I've never played an assassin before. So I played some of that. The problem is in the ladder stuff, the stuff that they add is like almost in-game stuff that you won't get till you're like level 50 something. And I'm just like, I'll never make it here. I don't know if I will. But I don't know. It's still Diablo 2. It's one of the best games ever made. So I just, as I mentioned in the Discord, I just booted up Diablo 2 on the Switch because I bought it on sale with the third game. And so I'm unfamiliar with the ladder concept. Can you give me like the rundown? So ladders are essentially seasons that they have, like for Diablo 3, where they add some new things. So they usually add a new mechanic. They also add new rune words. So how familiar are you with Diablo 2, Ryan?
I mean, I'm familiar with the original version of Diablo 2 that came out forever ago, but not like intimately familiar with it. I finished the first game. I'd never finished the second game.
Okay. So you may not be familiar with rune words. So rune words are basically how you get the most powerful items in the game. So what you can do is you'll find runes that will drop, and there's tons of different runes, and you can socket them just like you would a gem. They removed it for Diablo 3, but they kind of changed it because you have runes that you can put for your abilities. Either way, doesn't matter. Diablo 2, you get runes that you can socket into your equipment. If you do a specific word, so thul, un, something like that, it can that word will turn that item into a special item. So you can get one called stealth. That's like a really common one, and stealth has like faster run walk speed. This it has a whole bunch of stats that you can do. So these are very powerful items that like are end game build stuff. Sometimes even better than unique items. And every ladder or every season, they call them ladders, but every season they release a patch that will add 4 new rune words. And these rune words could be something that's never been in the game before that can like really power, like this ladder season 3. They've got 2 specific rune words that are really good for assassins and druids. So, and they make them like crazy good. Like the assassin build for the rune word that they added is nuts. Like it will just wreck everything. So it gives you an incentive to make a new character. So when you start a new character in the latter season, you can't carry over any of your equipment, shared equipment that you've gathered. You start at level 1 and you basically work your way up from the beginning, almost as if you just started the game.
Gotcha.
And they also have like a leaderboard of like who got there the fastest to level 99, who beat this boss at the fastest, that kind of thing. So they have a leaderboard.
So I saw the first to level 99 thing as an option when I was starting my character, and I'm like, well, it ain't going to be me, so I ain't going to even try that.
So that's just one small little perk that they have, but the new rune words are the ones that you really want to look out for. Gotcha. So each new ladder, they release new rune words, or they have like an event, like they added terror zones last patch, the last season. The terror zones are really cool because it's like a lot of you can get a lot of stuff for those. And it basically tries to freshen up the content a little bit, but it also gives incentive to go back and start a new character if you want. Try out a different build. It's really nice. They've only had 3 so far since Resurrected came out, so they're still working up to it. And like Diablo 3 is up to like season 28 or 29, I can't remember. So they do that periodically. I think every 3 months, every 4 months, somewhere around in there. But it's really cool. I mean, I started back up Diablo 2 for that reason, just so I could check out the Assassin rune word that they released, because it looks insane. Yeah, I've played Diablo 2. I finally booted up Hi-Fi Rush.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Played about 2 or 3 hours of that game. I beat like the first 2 bosses, I think.
I need to finish that game. I'm on my way to Corsica. That's where I'm at.
So when I started the game, I was like, all right, this is a rhythm-based action game. I want to see if I can do it. So I started on hard because the timing is it's not critical, but you'll definitely do way better if you're on time with the beat. And I was like, you know what? I want to play it like how it's meant to be played. So I started on hard. Haven't died once. So I think I'm doing pretty good. It doesn't seem overly difficult on hard. There's a very hard as well that I didn't choose, or I don't even know if you can choose at the very beginning of the game. But so far,
the game is not super hard in general, but I will say as you get deeper into the game, you get some mixes of enemies that get somewhat difficult to manage.
Okay.
So you may find it ramping up in difficulty as you get a little deeper in.
Okay. I mean, that's fine, and I think you can change the difficulty at any time. The accessibility options in this game are fantastic. Like, if you want to turn on the bar at the bottom, it shows you the beat, you can. Yep. And I think, 1, this game looks amazing. 2, this game plays great. And 3, the soundtrack is phenomenal. I absolutely love all of this. Not just the licensed tracks. I'm talking like the standard original soundtrack to this game is absolutely fantastic. I saw a few people saying it felt like just generic rock music. I don't think so at all. There's tons of like nuances to the music where, if you're doing really well, some of the lyrics start kicking in. It's like how they did with Revengeance. If anybody remembers that game. I
celebrated its 10-year anniversary.
There you go. We're going to be doing that from Phoenix Down pretty soon. So.
Oh, the final boss fight in that game is banana sandwich.
The Senator.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Oh,
Jesus Christ! Oh my God!
That fight is God.
So speaking of Hi-Fi Rush, one of the things it does very, very well is the boss fights. There are some really awesome boss fights in that game.
Yeah, those are really fun. Those are really fun. I thought I had the biggest smile on my face with that first boss when they're playing the Nine Inch Nails song, and there's the part where he starts shooting the lasers and he shoots it to the guitar riff.
Yep.
I was like, that's amazing. That's fantastic. So enjoying that game. I'm going to be playing some more of that. For Valentine's Day, I got my wife some things. Then my wife bought me Dead Space. So I have not booted up the new Dead Space yet. But I think I'm going to probably try and finish up Hi-Fi Rush first before I start Dead Space. I'm excited to get into it though, because Dead Space is one of my favorite games.
Good.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I've been playing a lot of Like a Dragon. Officially, I have not ran into the difficulty spike yet, but officially, I got pissed off with that game last night. So I was like, you know what? I've got some time before we have to record our next show. Why don't I grind some levels? Well, the game suggests going into the underground sewer area and grinding levels there. So, okay. I went to the sewers, and they tell you before you go in, hey, when you go in here, you just can't leave. Okay, got it. I swear to you, I made it to the final enemies of that run where I could leave, and I got killed there. This probably took me, I was probably in the underground for about an hour. I died, and it said you can spend half your cash to resurrect and try again. All right, let's do that. I resurrected, and it started me back at the dungeon, at the beginning of the dungeon. And I then promptly turned it off and booted up Overwatch 2.
So you just went from one frustration to another?
That's true. Yep, that's exactly what I did. But yeah,
the sewers, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrence, you quiet. Why'd you get quiet?
Who?
Terrence. He sounds quiet. Is that me?
Oh. No, I agree. Now, it's a little better just then, but...
Man, listen, I have so many technical issues.
You sound fine.
Yeah, you sound fine now, but when you were before, you were like, oh, how's it going?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what that was about. My bad.
Good. All good.
But yeah. That's I mean, honestly, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll move on to Anthony.
Okay. I don't know where to start. Let's start with Shadow Warrior 3. I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but
yeah.
I tried to load that up on Xbox One via Game Pass. It is available for that. Not only does that game stutter, the audio was off for me.
I don't know what happened with that the definitive. Like Terrence and I were talking about this a couple weeks ago. There's something wrong with that definitive edition on Xbox.
Yeah, I was listening to the podcast last week, and you said the same thing.
I don't get it.
It's. I hate to say it, it's junk right now.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, even when the game is good, it's just Doom, the new Doom.
Is, yeah.
Yeah, and it's Doom Eternal, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's definitely Doom Eternal.
I'm sorry, I don't like Doom Eternal. It's fine. It's not a bad game, but like, I liked the joy of just killing things, right? And then the challenge is, if they send more things in, can you crowd control? Not juggling while doing that. So I deleted that immediately because it didn't work. I haven't played a lot, so you gotta give me a minute to make sure. I started up the Outer Worlds again.
Oh yeah.
Because I bought the DLC for it, so and I'm like, I'm just gonna start over. because I was playing that because that was on my hard drive while I waited for Atomic Heart to download. So here's what happened with Atomic Heart. So Atomic Heart, it allows me to preload before it, pops into Game Pass. So what was that? Monday that I started downloading it. It hits midnight. I start it up. It's not done downloading, but it's like ready to start, which I usually don't start a game up with. But I'm like, okay. So I get through the intro sequence, which is, in my opinion, too long. Like, I liked it, but boy, could a lot of part of that just be like the whole river ride. Cut that out. To me, that was not interesting. There's like one part of it that I said that's necessary to know later on what these things are, which is the little vendors that allow you to they like try to put the little headpiece on you and it doesn't stay. I'm like, that's important.
Yeah.
But everything else isn't. Because to me, so the biggest inspiration to me anyways, playing this game is Half-Life. Clearly BioShock is where they're trying to get the gameplay from, but the setup is all Half-Life. Big tram ride at the beginning, show you the whole place. Oh no, things have gone poorly. Survive. You meet a few people, they're essential to your survival, then you watch a bunch of people die. And they keep showing you hazards by having a civilian die right in front of you, which is how they do it in Half-Life. So, I get to the car in the intro sequence, right? The download's not complete. I'm supposed to get in the car. So I've just played like an hour of walking, essentially, and looking around and trying to make sure I don't miss anything, which I didn't, because there's not anything really to miss. And the car says, available in the full game.
Oh, I saw this bug, yeah.
Okay, so it's not a bug. That is what happens when you start certain games up, when it's not finished downloading. That is not a bug. This is the constant issue with the ready to start. At some point, it has to cut you off, right? And generally, there's a hard point where they'll do that, and that's where this one is. So, I'm like, alright, well, it's late because it's midnight, so I'll just let this finish downloading and come back the next day. The next day, I go back to play it, and it says, this needs an update.
Dude.
I'm like, okay.
This game has been updated.
It's the whole fucking game. I'm like, fuck you, that's not an update, so why the fuck did I download it? So, I'm like, alright, let's restart the download. Then, I come back the next night to play it, and it goes, not only does it never finished the download. It's like at 0%. I'm like, what happened? And it's like, well, yeah, shit went south, and for some reason so I have to delete the whole file off my hard drive and re-download it from scratch. And then as soon as I finish downloading, it's like, update time. I'm like, why didn't you
This game has an update every day.
So I'm like, okay. I'll play it. I don't know what day this is now. I'll play it tomorrow. So I finally got to play it. It's not so I have mixed feelings. When this game was first shown, and I'm not kidding, it was like almost a decade ago. They announced it and had a Facebook page, and I think they ran a Facebook ad, and I saw it, and I was like, wow, that's really impressive, because it actually did look like gameplay. It didn't look like those like really bad, hey, this is a game that we're making, except that this is clearly all just like CG.
Oh yeah, you can tell
render from like first person, because the motion of the character doesn't look right. It's too smooth. No one's actually playing it. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, this is interesting. I'm gonna follow it. So I followed it for close to a decade. And I just assumed it wasn't coming out, because the stuff that they kept showing you were these gray rooms where you're fighting like floating robots and not mustachioed robots. I don't know when that came into effect, but There's a lot of mustaches in this game.
There is a lot of mustaches in it.
I am liking the game. I don't love the combat.
Same.
The robots being able to knock you over and you having to dodge it when there's more than one robot, it's not fun. There's a reason. I get that they have the upgrade trees and stuff, and you can modify the guns, but there's generally a reason why you don't do that type of thing. I get that this game is very linear right now, the first facility, but like that's so you can actually manage, because you don't just manage your your upgrades on your weapons. You have to manage ammo too. So it's like the reason why they don't usually do that in first-person shooters, which this game does enough of, where I'm like, well, you're a first-person shooter. As much as you may want to be like, well, we're an RPG too. It's your first-person shooter first. I can't build my character around just melee. Can't. So, it's a little rough that way, but otherwise, I like the exploration. The other thing, so combat's my one complaint. When I'm fighting robots that aren't humanoids, like when I'm fighting the flying robots, the game feels good. And if I have only one humanoid robot, I don't have an issue. But as soon as there's two, I'm like, we're moving into the not fun territory where I have to heal after this because like the shotgun can only hold 4 rounds and I don't have any pistol ammo, and the pistol's not going to do as much damage anyways. So what the other thing is like, boy, they clearly want to have a bit of that feeling that, and the last example I can think of is Prey, the immersive sim. They have a lot of terminals. Boy, none of it's interesting.
Yeah, I started skipping those about halfway through the game.
I thought maybe if I read these, they'll give me a lock combination or something like that.
Yeah.
Because they reference, I can't remember what the lock combination is, for that everybody uses. There's like a specific 451.
0451 or something like that.
0451 is referenced in the introduction sequence. That's a thing that immersive sims do as a throwback to like Deus Ex, System Shock, because that's where that was, I think, the code for that office or something like that. That might be an urban myth, but like that was a number that was used in immersive sims to kind of like throw back to the people that started that genre, like that RPG first-person shooter experience. So to like throw that out there, I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to read the terminals, and like it is just like, it is boring. It's not well done. Like that's, I think, the biggest complaint I have with this game. I don't care about the story at all. I just don't. None of this is bad guy, robots, crazy, gun. Like I hate bringing up the horny refrigerator. But like the dialogue between her and the main character, or the people that you're reading their minds of because of the little brain chip thing that they have in, like, that's interesting. Skip all the tertiary shit. I do not care about 90% of this. Like, it just, like, it doesn't feel like it's building up to anything. It's like, bad guy turned robots bad, go after him. Oh, and here's all this other stuff that you might want to know. No, I don't. I don't care. Like, they built robots in this facility. I got it. So, it's a very good game. That's, my complaints are minor for the most part, but the combat does go. I just go, oh, okay, all right. Let's try to crowd control robots that sprint full speed at you, and then Yeah, just the lore is like, you wrote a lot. I wouldn't have. I ain't reading this. Too long didn't read. And that's kind of it for me. I haven't really played a lot, so.
Yeah, it's when I first got into the first room that has a terminal, it's got that employees section.
Yeah.
Where there's like bios of a whole bunch of different employees. And I read the first one on the main guy, and then I went to the next one and it's like 2 sentences. And then I went to the next one and it's like 3 sentences. And it's like, okay, yeah, there's really not a whole lot here. I don't have to go through and read all these.
And like, why have that? You know what I mean?
I think
I don't need to know. I don't need to know these people. Like, to me, it doesn't world build well enough. Like, read a terminal. Like, here's the way I'd put it. Like, because Fallout is, I think, a better comparison than an immersive sim, because you can just play Fallout 3 and 4 as a shooter if you really wanted to, with a little bit of leveling. 4 especially. Read the terminals in a location you go to, and it explains the location. Because no one else can, right? No one's there from pre-war to give you the rundown of what happened here. The problem is, like, I know what this facility does, and you're just like, and here's all the people that worked here. I could not give less of a shit. Like, dude, you told me everything before I got here, so now you're like, well, let me explain the lore of this place. Like, I know they built robots. The most interesting conversation that's happened so far with anybody talking about the place was the guy who builds the sort of snake robots. Because he, like, gives you a rundown from the beginning of what they were meant for and everything. I'm like, okay, well, this is what you should be telling me about, but instead I'm reading emails that are inconsequential. So, yeah, it's a weird focus to have on in this game, where I'm like, this was extra fluff text. Like, I don't see how this adds to anything. Like, again, that would all be worthwhile if there was something of actual gameplay value in these. So I was always reading them in high detail. But it's not a bad game at all. Like, these complaints are really minor. Like, I've died, but like, I can deal with the robots. They're just not how like for
normal.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wonder.
I don't know. It's just like, here, dodge when they're red. Like, dude, the wind up animation's so fucking quick.
Even the dodge when they're red. So I've had several situations where they're red and I dodge, and it's like the robot heat seeks me in midair.
Yeah.
And like I had a situation last night where I was playing it where I dodged actually through a door, and the robot came through and hit me anyway, which was kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, you have to. So, like, I was trying to dodge to the side, and you can't almost. You have to, like, dodge straight back, because I think that's the furthest distance you can go. And it's
Gotcha.
like, well, now I'm away from the enemy. So if I'm using my melee weapon, now I'm so far away. Like, the dodge, because yeah, the robots do have a follow through for their kick, so they will follow you, and they heat seek a bit. Like, again, it's these really weird quirks where I'm like, you could have cut this. Like, again, to me, I'm playing it and I'm going, this is a very much Half-Life with like a small crafting system inside. And yeah, just, I don't know. It's not a bad game. I'm pleased to finally be playing it. There's just some weird quirks where I'm like, I don't see how somebody was like, these are necessary. Like, it feels like I need this because other things have it. Okay?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think they had a lot of ideas, and instead of putting them on the cutting room floor, they just kept them.
Yeah,
like, there's
that's
literally
definitely what it feels like.
Yeah, there's like, I don't know if you've done them yet, but there's like literally like platforming dungeons like Zelda.
Like, yeah, and puzzle locks and all that stuff.
Puzzle locks I like, but then they're immediately followed up with robots, and I'm like, I'd like because like, again, I hate to go back to Half-Life, but it really is, like, I can see how they, like, there's a bit of a physics system, you know, they want you to do a bit of puzzle solving, like, when you go through Half-Life 2, which I think is a better example because it has a physics engine, but even the first Half-Life, they are generally, like, if they have an enemy in a puzzle section, there's, like, one. It's just to keep you on your toes, but most of the time, it's like, here's your puzzle section, here's your platforming section, and then we will get back into the combat, and they're not attached, but instead, this game's like, you know, clear the room of enemies, and then do the thing, and then as soon as the door opens up, there's more enemies on the other side, and I'm like, I would like just a slight breather, because then there's moments where there's nothing happening, and I'm just going through drawers. Like, okay, but there's no puzzles here. It's just me looting. Like, that's a very weird combination, which, again, makes sense in, like, a Fallout game, where, you know, that's a necessity, and I guess it's a necessity in this game, but, like, it fits into kind of what's happening in the game in total. Like, is this building clear? Or have I just cleared this room? Because I don't know. Like, I know that this building's not cleared yet because I'm going through it linearly. I don't know. There's some weird quirks with this game. Is it bad? God, no. It's very well done. When there's a set piece, like when the robot throws the person through the glass, the first time you run into the robot and you have to kill it, I'm like, that's awesome. I liked all the other machines going haywire, but because they're not robots, they don't attack. They just kind of spin in circles. And they have killed some people, but for the most part, they're just like going through their motions, but like erratically. But yeah, it's not a bad game. It's just there's really weird decisions, and yeah, I think you're right, Ken. I think it's like from a decade worth of development, nothing hit the cutting room floor. That makes more sense.
Yeah, the other weird. So I know it's not my turn, but I might as well just jump in and talk about this game now instead of waiting. So I agree with basically everything you said. I like the game. It does feel to me like a game that's been in development for a very long time. And like Ken said, they just had a whole bunch of ideas, and instead of scrapping some of them, they just kept them. There's like weird, I don't even know how to describe it, quirks about the game, I guess is what I would say. So for example, I bought the cryo blast like upgrade thing, and it wouldn't let me use it. It said on the screen that I could hit up on the D-pad, it looked like, to use it.
No, that's to switch it.
So,
yeah.
Okay, well, hold on. So I bought the thing. It says up on the D-pad. I press up on the D-pad, nothing happens. I press up on the D-pad, nothing happens. So I got all the way through a section, got to the next upgrade point, and realized that it gives you, when you press install, it gives you two options, like left or right on the D-pad, where you can put it. If I put it in the first one, I can actually use it by pressing the left bumper button. But if I put it in the second one, it just gives me that prompt with up on the D-pad, and I can't ever get to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw a video of somebody playing this, and like they can use, because you can equip two powers at some point. Like they can use them by two buttons, whereas on the console you have to press up to swap between them. So I think it's just like a bug with the UI.
Yeah, I think, up to swap between them must only work when you have two extra powers installed.
Yeah,
if you have one extra power installed and you install it into the second slot, which I did unknowingly, you just can't use it. You have to switch it to the other one.
Yeah, I think that's a bug.
Yeah, so that was a little bit frustrating. I agree, and I like the atmosphere of the game. I can't stand the dialogue. I can't, the main character dialogue, I just can't stand it.
Yeah, silent protagonist goes a far way. You're right.
Yeah, and I think
crispy critters.
Crispy critters.
Cringy.
It's that's the thing that I don't know. Sometimes it feels like they learned. Well, so here's a couple things I'm going to say. Number one, it does feel like BioShock to me, but it feels more like BioShock Infinite than BioShock Original.
Yes.
Yeah.
Down to the intro. The intro is very Infinite. Yeah.
And if you remember, one of the most criticized things about BioShock Infinite was the combat, and it's the same thing here for me. The combat is tough. But it feels sometimes like they learned the wrong lessons from BioShock. Some of the right ones, but some of the wrong ones too. And the notion that, like you said, there has to be a whole bunch of dialogue hidden behind the tickers or whatever they call them is a lesson they learned from BioShock. But none of it, like you said, is very interesting. The main character. His dialogue is just awful. It's like Forspoken awful.
It's worse than Forspoken.
You're probably right. Yeah,
at least Forspoken, it's a character from our world that's brought somewhere else. So her response, like the cutscene that people showed, there was like where she tells the thing that talks to her to shut the fuck up or whatever. I was like, I don't know. That felt like it was acted well. And part of this feels like, I don't know, they were trying to write Duke Nukem, but like through the translation process that was lost or something. Like, I'm wondering, because I can't speak Russian, I'm wondering if I switched the dialogue, would it sound like, at least sound like the character is cool?
Yeah.
And not a loser? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely
really
strange.
Man have it, and he's like, this game is really good though. But
it is.
I love the game. I understand the complaints. I get them totally, but I fucking loved it.
I have complaints too. I was just kind of waiting for like Double Dutch. I'm over here waiting for it to have to jump in. But yeah, But go ahead, Anthony. What were you saying?
I was gonna say the. Look at how I talk about this game, though. Like, clearly I give a shit where this game fails. That's always my issue with people that don't understand, like, complaints. When people complain about something a lot, or at least are going into detail of things they don't like, generally that's because they give a shit. Shadow Warrior 3 gave me nothing, and I was immediately like, I'm done with this. Like, my complaints were less than a minute. Yeah, glitchy, doesn't work, fuck it. Alright, clearly I'm not going to invest in getting that to work. Like, I had download issues, which I don't necessarily put on Atomic Heart. That's a multitude of factors. But, like, when this game is good, it's amazing. The atmosphere's perfect. There are some really interesting, like, world building through the environment and stuff. And then it's like, hey, it's time for combat. By the way, these robots knock you down, and there's always an animation, and it's annoying, and now there's two of them, and you don't have enough shotgun shells, and the shotgun really doesn't do enough damage until you upgrade it to make it worthwhile. And if you're using melee, have fun. Also, here's all these terminals that you can read, but we really didn't put the same amount of effort into this as we did certain dialogue. Also, there's just way too much dialogue, so like clearly it's showing its cracks there. Like, that's another thing too. All these games that they're kind of aping from don't have dialogue every like 3 minutes.
Right.
There's almost too much dialogue. Like, I can't get into the zone of playing as this character because he will start talking to his fucking glove.
I will.
And it's like, Jesus Christ. Like Booker, using BioShock Infinite, and Elizabeth are together the entire game, for the most part, and there is less dialogue between them. I'm not even out of the first facility. There's less dialogue between Booker and Elizabeth than there are between Dickhead McGee, I can't remember his name.
E3.
Stupid. E3, and then the fucking glove.
Charles.
Yeah.
So I will tell you, P3, Charles, and the ballerinas, it all pays off.
I'm sure it does. Look, every time I run into the fridge and
fuck Nora. Nora can go to hell. I hate that thing. Every time I get to a fridge and it's not her.
Can you not can you not kill people? And then it's like, oh, but I was so lonely. And it's just like, at least the main character realizes, like, I fucking don't like this either. Like, clearly this is a joke on the player of how annoying this is.
Yeah, a lot of the
also,
where was
the conversation in what women should look like without the fridge? Come on, that dude was using look at these robots. Yeah, Where's the fridge in that, buddy?
The fridge is the fridge is curvy. What are you talking about?
Creepy dude on Twitter.
The last comment I'll make about the game is that I'm enjoying the game so far. I do like the parts that remind me of BioShock because I love the BioShock games. But I just feel like the things I have problems with, like combat and the dialogue, there's too much of them. Like there's too much of the things that I'm having problems with currently. If the game had less combat and less dialogue, then I probably wouldn't care as much that it's kind of busted. But there's so much of it.
I will give you a tip, and I know nobody on this podcast likes to hear this. Shot the difficulty down to easy. The combat becomes less of a chore.
Yeah, that's I'm about to do that just to because I'm actually so I am I think a little more invested in the lore than Anthony is. I'm enjoying what I've seen of it so far. And the environments are cool, but man, every time I see a robot that I have to do battle with, it's like, fuck, man, I don't want to deal with this right now.
Yeah, I skip past a lot of them in the open world. I run past most of them in the open world.
Did you get caught by one of the cameras yet?
Yeah, I just run past. I literally just book it. I don't care. I get in a car in the open world and go. I just don't care.
I do. You know what? Maybe it was a little too hard on the lore. I like the lore when it feels necessary. Like
you're just saying, there's too much of it.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. You nailed it. There's too much of everything.
Yeah,
and it's just like too much of going through drawers.
That's the game in general feels like it could have used an editor. And I think, Ken, you probably nailed it. That part of this is, and we see it all the time with games that are in development for a really long time, is somebody has what they think is a good idea 6 years ago, and it never makes its way out of the final game.
Yeah.
And so you end up with a game that kind of feels a little bit unfocused, and has a little bit too much of everything. And I think the unfortunate thing about this game is a couple of the things that it has too much of, one being dialogue and the other being combat, just don't feel that great anyway, at least from my perspective. But yeah, I mean, it's a game I'm going to keep playing. I don't want to sound like I think the game sucks, but it's definitely has its problems.
To be honest with you, and this is just my opinion, the way you guys are talking makes me not want to play this game.
You should have been on last week. You should have been on last week because I gave it a 9. I love that. I fucking love the game.
I understand that, but so there's 3 major things about a video game that some people will find important and some people won't find important, and that is graphics, story, and gameplay. And people take whatever they want from those 3, and they choose which one is more important to them. And it's sounding to me like the graphics and the story are good, while the gameplay is middling. The most important thing to me is the gameplay. And if the gameplay is not fun, I don't know if I want to play this game.
See, that's where I'm in disagreement with them. Is I love the gameplay. I love the combat once I got accustomed to it, and I bumped it down to easy. Because you're right, on normal, it's frustrating as shit. There's too much of it.
Bad game design. That's bad game design.
That may be, here's the thing, but Drew. I still have fun.
Here's the thing, Drew. Another comparison, I apologize, but clearly this is a game where I can see where it sources all of its parts, which is not a compliment and not a insult. It's just true. I can see where I'm lifting this from here and I'm lifting that from there and all this stuff. I loved the new Prey, even though it wasn't a sequel to the better Prey. And that new Prey starts off, and it is very difficult. And eventually but it is open world, and it gives you a lot of ways to deal with the issue. Because there's multiple skill trees, and there's multiple ways of getting around, and sneaking, and hacking, and all this stuff. This game doesn't have that option, so when I see the skill tree, and it's like, well, when I unlock that, combat's going to change. Well, that's great, but again, this first area, and I know it opens up, but the first area is very linear, which leads me to the I needed more time doing something else so I could figure out how I want to play this game, because they're talking about polymer bullets, and they're talking about, setting stuff on fire, and it's like, these are really cool mechanics that I can't engage with right now. So, you had to build a combat system that could take this into account, but there's not a sneak element to this game, really.
They say there is, but I never used
it. I've killed one enemy by sneaking up on them. Two, maybe.
It's not very good.
No.
The sneak mechanic is not very good.
So it's like, I can see how the combat gets better. But I think they balanced combat around the ideas that you're going to be kind of juggling these effects, right? Kind of like Bioshock, in the sense that, they're in the water, I shock them, and then I pull out a gun and deal with the stragglers, and if anybody comes out of that water, I can hit them with a different power and all this stuff, which in the first game is very rough because it's old. But, when, again, that stuff is locked out in a linear game, it's like...
Y'all scanning?
Okay, it's worth trying, Drew. Again, these are complaints about a game I am liking. I do not dislike this game, but there are complaints where I'm like, this game, I can see the point where this game goes from 7.5, a light 8 for me, to a 10 if these small things were just cut down on even a little bit.
Are you all scanning the enemies to see their weaknesses?
Yeah, I've scanned a few.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot in that when you scan it, and it's also very helpful for exploring.
You know what's great though, Ken? Where it's like, hey, it's weak to this. I can't. What am I doing with that information right now? I can't upgrade my guns any further.
No, but when you run into them again, because there is only a handful of different enemy types, and you will see them regularly throughout the game.
The shotgun does more damage now, which is nice, because it's a fucking shotgun, and it should have just done a lot of damage at point blank range anyways.
Have you even figured out how to add canisters to your gun?
No.
No.
It's a pain in the ass, but I will tell you, hold down the X button if you're playing on Xbox, pull up the weapon wheel, and scroll over to the cartridge slot, and you can pop it in.
Oh my fucking God.
It's terrible. I was halfway through the game before I realized you could hold the X button to bring up the weapon wheel.
Oh, I knew that.
Oh, it tells you that.
I must have missed it, but yeah, hold it down and then cycle over to the shotgun and you can install a cartridge, as long as you have it in your inventory.
Yeah, okay. That makes... yeah. But it's like, hey, do you want to upgrade this? Oh, well, we have to take away all the upgrades and we'll refund you. No, don't refund me. I want to switch and then keep the other stuff too. This is, I think, this team's first game, which is impressive.
Yes, this is their first game.
Amazingly impressive. So it's like, hey, in Atomic Heart 2, cut down on some of this shit.
Atomic Heart 2 coming 2030?
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah. Yeah.
I love the game.
Anyways,
I know Terrence, he hasn't said a word, but I think he liked it too.
I mean, I did.
Speak up!
Oh my God.
You're so quiet, I can barely hear you.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't said a word, because I've actually been talking, but it's not coming out. Can you hear me now?
Nope, it's very quiet.
Yeah. This is what happens. What about now? Can you hear me now?
Better.
Better, yeah.
Oh my God.
There are times where you sound fine. I don't know what you're doing when you sound fine.
And then it sounds like you're down the hallway.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not doing anything. I don't understand why it's like flipping out. Like, is it fine now?
No. Nope.
No.
Okay. Let's skip me because I'm having go ahead. I'll just go ahead.
I
mean, the game.
I think you need to go back to your headset that was echoing because I think that was better. Even with the minor echo, like you sounded better.
I got you. All right, well, just skip me. I'm gonna mute myself and I'll reconfigure this.
All right, let me know when it's back up.
When you come back, it's probably your turn anyways. Unless we're going to Ryan first.
We can do that. We can do that while he fixes his headset. We can switch over to Ryan. I love PC audio. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Okay, so we already talked about Atomic Heart. I won't go into that more, other than to say that Drew, I probably fall. I'm probably of the three people that have talked the lowest on the game right now, but I still think it's good and probably worth playing. But I'm gonna get through this, sort of. I'll get through to the open world and then figure out if it's something that I want to continue playing or not.
I'm going to be real honest with you. I know you probably heard me talk about it. The open world is such a secondary option. It literally just feels like a travel mechanic.
Yeah, I'm using it more. I'm using it more as a gauge that I've played enough to make a decision about the game.
Yeah.
Than anything else. Because I do. Again, I loved the BioShock games, and so I'm intrigued by where this game is going. But as I mentioned, the combat is a turnoff to me, and I bumped the game down to easy, so we'll try that. And the main character's character is also a turnoff to me, but we'll
B3.
we'll give it a little while and see how I feel. I also played Mountain Blade Bannerlord.
Oh, the one that went up on Game Pass this week?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I've played Mountain Blade before on PC.
Or banned, I guess.
Yes. And I don't know. I don't feel like the combat makes a super smooth transition from PC to console. I think, for everybody who doesn't know, that's the combat and the blocking and everything is very directional in Mountain Blade. So you can attack from the left, you can attack from the right, you can attack from overhead, or you can sort of stab. And I don't feel like the control system made the leap from PC to console all that well. So on PC, it's very much dependent on the direction your mouse is moving when you attack. And in this, it's you have to defend. You have to sort of hit the left trigger and a direction on the right stick to defend the right direction. But the right stick also controls the camera, and so it's the same way with attacks. You hit the right trigger and say up to attack with an overhead. But since the right stick also controls the camera, sometimes that means the camera pans way up when you attack, and it gets a little disorienting. So that's another one that I'm going to have to play a little bit more to decide if I'm going to stick with it. I feel like, this isn't going to come to a surprise or come as a surprise to the people that listen to this podcast, but I think Chivalry has a much better control scheme for a similar concept than Mountain Blade has. Even For Honor, which has kind of another similar control scheme to that, pulls it off better than Mountain Blade. But the game has it's very deep. It's got a lot of other stuff to do. So I'm gonna keep giving it a shot. But I'm not super sold on the way it controls so far. Is Terrence back? Because I know he played it too. Not recently, but I'm pretty sure he played it before.
He is not, but I will ask a question. Is this multiplayer
He's kind of
only?
back. He's kind of back.
Oh, you sound good now. What's up?
Yeah, well, I can echo in myself. Well, it's fine. Yeah, so you're absolutely right, because I heard your whole thing as I was fiddling with stuff, and I was like, man, he's telling the truth. You didn't hear me, but the people upstairs did.
Don't fiddle with yourself on the podcast. Thanks.
You did it again.
Yeah, I don't want to. Man, y'all could just let some go by.
Nope.
Like, you could just let it fly by. Like, we ain't even got to do this. But anyways, you're absolutely right, Ryan. It's because I reviewed it. I wanted to love it because, I love Chivalry 2, which, again, I love how you're like the Chivalry 2 prophet. Like, you keep every podcast, you telling everybody, like, hey, we could be playing this and y'all wouldn't be frustrated.
Yep, that's true.
But yeah, Chivalry 2 is great. But yeah, I wanted to love it because I like Chivalry 2. But yeah, I think because the controls didn't transfer from PC to console well, combat is not fun. It's not fun. Like, some of the world building and stuff that you can do to kind of build up your clan and different stuff is kind of cool, but combat is just a chore.
Yeah, it's got the character creation is a real throwback. It reminds me a lot of Morrowind's character creation and a lot of the old Dungeons and Dragons games character creation, where so in Morrowind and in the Dungeons and Dragons game or games, some of the older ones, when you're building your character, you can answer questions to build your character. So, like, you see a person stealing bread in order to feed their family. What do you do? And you answer a question, and that determines how many skill points you have in a different section. And with Morrowind, it's kind of the same thing. This game, instead of that, you basically pick your lineage. So, like, you say what your parents did for a living, and that determines your skills. You pick an experience you had when you were a young child, when you were a little bit older, when you were a little bit older, when you were a little bit older, when you were adult, and then right before the game starts, basically, what happened to you, and those build your skills instead of just picking them from a menu. So I do like that a lot. The game, if it's anything like Warband, I'm confident that it does a lot of other things well. But yeah, man, the controls just really turn me off for sure.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I like the other stuff about it.
Yeah.
Sorry, is this an RPG or is it like a multiplayer game too? Like, I don't know anything about the series.
I don't know that I don't know if the console version has a multiplayer component.
It does.
Does it?
Yeah, but it's mainly a RPG, but it does have a multiplayer component.
And it's got strategy elements to it too, Anthony. Mm-hmm. So and like community building and stuff like that.
Is it a fantasy game or is it more like just medieval?
It's more medieval.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of about an empire that breaks apart, and you play as a different faction within the old empire. But yeah, if it controlled better, I would say you should definitely check it out, but it's tough to recommend with the way it controls. Other than that, I mentioned already that I started playing Diablo 2. I think I mentioned on the show before that they were doing a sale on Switch where you could get Diablo 2 Resurrected and Diablo 3 for $20. And combined. So yeah. And I had been waiting to get Diablo 3 on the Switch for a long time, and it almost never went on sale, and even when it did, it would go on sale for $30.
Did you see
to be able to buy both for $20 was awesome.
Yeah,
Sorry,
did you see that both No, it's fine. Did you see that both the separate ones are more money than the bundle too?
Yeah.
Does that make any fucking sense?
I don't understand it, but yeah, I'm glad that the bundle was on sale because I had been wanting to try, as I mentioned before, I played Diablo 2 on PC back when it first came out. I never finished it because it was during a time period in my life when most of my PC gaming happened at the game store that a friend of mine ran while I was working, and so I kind of bounced around to a lot of stuff. But I enjoyed it a lot, and so I was really looking forward to checking out Resurrected. So I was glad that was included in there, and I was basically able to get both of them for $10 each. Because I did play a lot of Diablo 3 on PlayStation, But I never finished that either. So I'm glad to be able to go through and play both of those games now. But I'm enjoying Diablo 2. When I played it back in the day, I was a barbarian, and when I beat the first one, I beat it as a warrior. So I decided to try Paladin this time, and which is what I play on Diablo 3 on PlayStation. I'm digging it so far. Drew has given me the ultimate build, so now I'm going to follow his build guide.
Here's your Hammerden.
Yep, it's been since Elden Ring since I followed a build guide or a fact to tell me what I should do to be ready for specific challenges. So I'm excited. I enjoy that stuff. So I like following. As weird as it sounds, I like following guides and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing some more of that, and eventually the third one too. Once I want to finish the second one first. And then let's see. I don't remember if I've been on the show since I finished Hi-Fi Rush. But I finished. It's hard. It gets crossed up. I forget what I told you guys on the podcast and what I told you guys in the Discord. But I finished Hi-Fi Rush, and man, the back half of that game is so freaking awesome. And the last two bosses in particular are just really, really great. The second to last boss is tremendous, both in design, in the music that's in the boss fight itself, the environments that the boss fight takes place in. It's and there's a lot of subtle references in it as well, which are really fun. So that game is amazing. If you haven't played it yet, you should definitely play it. The only negative that I'm going to say about that game is that the post-game content is kind of a pain in the ass to get to. And it how do I want to I'm trying to explain it without spoilers. There's post-game content that exists within each of the levels that you play. So when you get to the post-game, you have to play back through. It's usually between, I'd say, probably 65 and 75% of the level to get to where the post-game content is sort of located. And you can, it is possible to get all the way back through the level, get to the post-game content, and not have the appropriate skills to be able to actually do the post-game content. So that's a little bit frustrating. But it's definitely not a deal breaker. The game, even without that content, is tremendous, and it reminds me of a Dreamcast game in the best ways possible. So, and it's on Game Pass, so everybody should play it.
I think that'll be the next game that I finish. Like I said, I'm probably maybe 5 to 6 hours in. I'm on my way to Corsica.
Yeah, I'd say if you're on your way to Corsica, you're probably 60%. What level? Do you remember what level number you're on? I can't remember what level
7.
number it is.
I think it's 7.
So you're a little over halfway through. There's 12 total,
okay.
So you're a little over halfway through.
That game is cool.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, it's really great, and I hope that they make a sequel. And then let's see. I played a lot of NBA 2K23. I like what they did with my career this year. You don't have the silly overdramatic story where you're sitting on a bench while your dead friend talks to you.
Joint.
Yeah, it's a much more grounded and realistic sort of story. And the only thing that I don't like, well, it's not the only thing. There's a couple things I don't like. One of the things I don't like is the freaking city. I am tired of the city. I hate the city. I wish they'd do away with the city. It is slow as hell to get around so that they can convince you to earn or buy virtual currency so that you can buy faster ways to get around the city. Even when they give you a skateboard to get around the city, the skateboard's slow as hell too. there are some challenges and stuff like the quests, I guess. So one of the like quests that you can do is you meet up with these guys that own a skateboard shop, and apparently your player is a big skateboarder, and so they give you a skateboard and you can do tricks and grind rails and stuff, and the controls are awful. So you're like trying to complete this quest by grinding rails and doing tricks, and it's just the most bare bones ass tacked on skateboard stuff that you've ever seen. There's way too many like quests and online tournaments and stuff like that to do, and I'm sure for some people it's a blast, but I really wish they would disconnect my career from this sort of my player city thing and just make them two separate modes, so that the people who want to just, play street ball games with other people online and build up their characters and, venture around the city and all that stuff can do that. And the people who want to play a more straightforward career can do that. Cause it's like you got your peanut butter in my jelly, and I'm not really feeling it.
I have to ask, how many, when you're walking around the city, how much of it's fucking advertisements?
There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of product placement in this game. I mean, one of the quests is to go meet Jake from State Farm. So
they are bringing State Farm back. Oh my god! I was gonna jokingly ask if State Farm was back.
Yeah, and so Nike and Jordan and Adidas and Puma and New Balance are all represented in the game. They all have physical store locations in the city. Gatorade is obviously a huge. It's plastered everywhere, and you can buy optional upgrades before games that are Gatorade themed upgrades.
You have steroids in your Gatorade. Get out there, champ.
It's product placement city all over the place.
And that's why I'm irritated by the fact, more than anything, that they're like, also, could we have some money from you?
Well, so that gets me to my biggest criticism with the game, is that when you start your My Career, and just to give you kind of the overview, because it does tie in, the story for the My Career is that your character gets drafted 18th overall, and a potential superstar player gets drafted 19th overall. And so the story is that most of the fan base in the city that you got drafted to is pissed that they drafted you instead of this other player. And so you have to try to basically win the respect of not only the fans in the city, but also like local businesses and stuff, because everybody's pissed that you got drafted instead of the other guy. And basically you got drafted because of your leadership ability, and the other player is like a natural athlete, essentially is the story. And so I can understand your character not being like an 80 overall with that story, but you start the career as a 60 overall. And there is not a place in the world where a guy who is 60 overall, or the equivalent of 60 overall, is going to get drafted in the top 20 in the NBA draft. It's not going to happen. And so to build your character up, you have to spend my points. Or you have to spend the virtual currency, basically. My points are separate. That helps you build up sort of your attribute cap. But to level up, you have to spend the virtual currency. And you earn, depending on how well you play, probably between 1,000 and 1,500 virtual currency every game. And that'll let you level up at the lower levels, probably three bips on an individual attribute across 18, 19. So it takes a long time to get your character up to anything reasonable. I think I've played 25 games so far, and my character is now a 66 or 67 overall. And that's with doing a lot of the side quests where you can get some some virtual currency. So I think I've read online that if you wanted to level up your character to 99, it would cost you around $200 in real money to buy the virtual currency that would get you there, and it's just ridiculous. Like I think MLB The Show is the first game I remember that tied the same. I think it was The Show. It was one of the ones on PlayStation 3. It tied the same currency that you use to upgrade your character's attributes. You could buy it. And that was sort of the downhill slope. And the 2K games have just absolutely leaned into that concept. And it's everywhere in their games. It's if you want to level up your character and you don't want to grind like it's, Dragon Quest, you're gonna have to spend money, and I refuse to do so. So that, of course, translates into it being much more difficult to make shots. It affects how quickly your character goes up for a layup. So when you press the button to go up for a layup, it affects how quickly your character actually gets up off the ground and makes the layup, which increases the likelihood you're going to get blocked. It definitely has an on-court impact. You can't just you can, I guess, to an extent, play through it, quote unquote. But it's definitely going to affect how your player controls on the court, which is kind of lame. It's not. Let me say that it's not lame that your overall rating controls how your character plays on the court. That I perfectly get, and it's like that in every sports game that's ever existed. That's a good thing, because when you get better, you want to be able to play better. But what sucks is how long it takes to get your character good if you don't want to spend the money. So that's why I will say good things about the way the show does it now, where it's more like the Morrowind or Skyrim. The more you do something, the more you level up in it, sort of path.
Yeah.
Whereas in 2K23, Terrence, I think you said that basically that's what your son asks for as payment for chores, right? Is virtual currency.
Yep. Virtual currency.
Yeah, so it's
so much of that. Oh my god.
Yeah, they've definitely 2K has definitely jumped the shark in terms of using that as a way to level up your career player. The good news for me is that I like the gameplay enough that and I'm used to it enough now that I can play the way I want to play, even though my character is only a 67 overall. But there are definitely times where you have to play the game a different way, is what I'll say, because there are definitely times where I'll take a lightly contested shot from mid-range, and if my shot timing is just outside of green, I'm missing that shot. If I'm wide open, I might make it if I'm just outside of green, but otherwise you almost have to have excellent shot timing every time if you want a good chance of making a basket. And it does get frustrating after a while. So yeah, those are my criticisms of the game. The on-court basketball is fantastic. Like the game plays very well, and your teammates behave the way you would expect AI-controlled teammates to behave. It's just the virtual currency stuff that really kind of pisses me off about the whole experience. And I'm glad I only paid $20 for the game and didn't pay full price for it. So I won't buy 2K sports games for full price because of that virtual currency scam. And I'm sure it'll be in WWE when that comes out in a couple months too, because it was in the last one.
Of course.
Really? What do they have you paying for in that? Like costumes?
Attribute. You can buy attributes for your creative wrestlers with virtual currency. You can also buy wrestlers like on the like secret wrestlers and legend wrestlers and stuff with virtual
Battlegrounds
currency.
Did it the best because they put the characters you could buy in like clamshells.
Yeah, I like that game. Yeah.
That was cool. Like, and you open it, and then there's your wrestler.
Yeah, and I'm sure because so I say all this about 2K. That game brings in a massive amount of revenue from all that virtual currency.
Oh yeah.
And I posted in the Discord the other day that the dialogue has completely flipped among the community. And instead of it being, it's ridiculous that I should be expected to pay more real money to level my character up in a reasonable way, the dialogue has turned to, it would be great if I only had to spend $30 on virtual currency to get my character to max level instead of $200. And because of that, it's never going away.
No. Wow.
They've got the numbers. They know people are going to pay.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
So it ain't going away.
But you better believe they'll still release an NBA 2K24 and an NBA 2K25 instead of just NBA 2K as the platform, right? Because they want you to start all over again every year.
Which is weird because the same parent company has just released Grand Theft Auto 5, like, just shark card, you know?
Yeah, well, it's the I wonder how much influence Rockstar has on that because, like I said, the nice thing for 2K is that you basically have to start over every year. So I'm surprised they haven't tried to do that yet with GTA, although I know at this point it's been running so long there would be a revolt if they tried to start over. But
yeah.
Anyway, sorry that went a little long, but I haven't been on the show in a while, so trying to think if there's anything else.
Just quickly, the reason why it doesn't happen, like it does happen in GTA, it just doesn't happen the same way, right? They were like, oh, well, here's the new luxury car. It costs a fuck ton. Right? They do that every update. They put out this new car, like they have a jet bike.
Yeah, that's
now.
True. They do that. Yep,
right?
That is true.
They have to do it in a different way because that's how they do it. Like, oh, you want to be a real baller? Fucking buy this new apartment, and like they don't do anything.
Yeah, that's
how they get car. I bought the cars though. I ain't gonna lie. I bought the flying DeLorean. To tell the truth, that car is player. They got me on that.
So that's how they. But that's how they do it in Grand Theft Auto because otherwise it's not.
Grand Theft Auto's just become Second Life at this point, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yes, it is definitely Second Life.
So you can tell in 2K because everything is under the same virtual currency. So not only does it control your attribute upgrades, but also you use it to buy clothes for your character. You use it to buy like the different vehicles you can use to get around the city. And so you can tell the people who have invested a paycheck or two in virtual currency very quickly based on what they're wearing and what they're using to get around the city.
Mm. That's what it's for, though, right? Because it's for them people to be stunting in the video game.
Yep.
And
it's pay to win. It's pay to win in its purest form because it's if you try to play it, you have to be basically perfect to be able to play against a level 99 as a level 67, just based on the way the shot timing works and everything. But anyway, all right. Well, I'll shut up now because I've talked for way too long.
All right. Well, I'll move on to Terrence now that he can talk.
Oh, listen. Every time I unmuted this mic to say something, I was like worried. I'm over here like, oh, geez. Oh, please let it work. Okay, so I'm gonna just go real fast and kind of shotgun stuff because. All right, so not to beat the dead horse that is Atomic Heart, but so I don't have a problem with it. I like the alt history aspect of it with the story. The combat, I would have a problem with the combat if I didn't take Ken's advice and just put it on easy to start out with. So listen to y'all complain. I see what I'm missing, and I'm cool on easy. So I will tell y'all this: come on over here to the dark side, brothers, and get on easy. It's not that much of a struggle. Like it's genuinely not. It's not that bad. But yeah, that sounds rough, what y'all was talking about. But yeah, you don't have to be as precise with the timing and the different dodges and stuff. So, but I'm digging it. I'm not, the creepy fridge is creepy. The talking protagonist, it doesn't actually, he hasn't gotten on my nerves yet to the point where I'm like, man, if this nigga don't shut up, like he actually is cool. And yeah, so I'm kind of stoked to experience more of that game. But this is going to segue into the other game that I was playing, which is Forspoken, because y'all actually brought that up too. I was been playing a lot more of that since I finished up the Hogwarts Legacy review and everything. Man, if there's a game where they need to tone down the talking, it's in Forspoken. It's not even because of Frey's reaction to stuff, because like Anthony had said when I was having issues, I agree. Her reactions I think are normal. Like I think people were blowing some of those videos out of proportion. Like I mean, the girl just went from New York to the land of Narnia and fighting a dragon. Fuck yeah, I'm scream something. Shoot, Pixie Wicks. Like I mean, my God, you gonna say something? But the problem is it's not even that they banter with each other while you're fighting. It's that they use the same line over and over and over and over again.
I think there's something over there. I think there's something over there.
Or you scan an area. Oh, looks like it's clear. Did you do something to annoy them? And then she says her little thing. Well, you're and they use the same line. And so when you're playing this game, because I put because I was actually playing this while y'all were playing Overwatch last night. So I put like 4 hours into it. And by the time I turned it off, I was like, if this bitch say one more thing about this cuff being annoying, like there's so many lines that they just reuse. And that's the problem. Like I get what they're trying to do. Like, okay, they're trying to, you would say something to whatever, point something out or whatever. But it's just a frequency at which it happens. And I feel like that's maybe what y'all have a problem with in Atomic Heart is the frequency of it. Like if they calm down, but some of the conversations he has with Charles are kind of insightful because it's like, oh, okay, so I learned a little more about what's happening in this alt history world. But yeah,
like I could do with just Charles talking to me.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
And the protagonist is fine, but he's a little like try hard.
He does feel try hard.
I got you. Yeah, he does. You're right. Because they were like trying to go for like a Duke Nukem, like a low key, a less offensive.
I still love that his catchphrase is "crispy critters." I'm unapologetic for that. That's hilarious.
Every time he says it, I crack up because he puts it in the most weirdest parts of the conversation when he's complaining about just crispy critters.
Crispy critters may be one of the cringiest things I've ever heard a video game.
I just think it's funny.
I think it's funny. Like I don't think he's cool for it. I just think it's funny.
But here's the thing: they're trying to sell this guy as like he's military. He knows, and then he says crispy critters, and I'm like,
you dork.
If I was in the military with him, friendly fire would happen.
I mean, he's also in the military in the world where there are porn stash robots. So
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Y'all talked about them. Those are Gary. Anytime I run into those, because I'm like, oh, there's another Gary. And I just run after him. I too don't use the stealth mechanics. I just run at these with my axe or whatever my weapon is. Go ahead, sorry.
Crispy critters. It's so fucking bad, man.
I think it's funny. I don't care.
It's funny. It's funny in the same sense as what is a man?
That's just funny.
It's melodramatic.
But we're not in the 90s, guys.
I want to be in the 90s. It was a better time.
90s was pretty. It's funny because my Marvel Snap, which I also played because I play it every week, my little Marvel Snap because you can put like a little quote that you unlock on the thing, but I have one that says 90s was the best decade. That's the one that I rock now because it was. I missed the 90s.
There ain't no lies.
That's just because the best Magneto drawings came out in the 90s.
Yeah, damn right.
I mean that's one of many reasons.
Oh, okay. So what else did I play? Forspoken. Just real quick. I still like the combat in Forspoken. I think it's really a lot of fun. It's a lot like Hogwarts Legacy once you unlock stuff. It's about juggling the different enemies and stuff. I don't like the little fish eye effect for the menu screen. Like when you look at the map and look at her skill stuff and it's like bubbled out at you. They did a lot of stuff that they didn't have to do to make it cool. Like the enemies being hidden and some of the foliage is kind of annoying, but I guess like Anthony was talking about, I still like Atomic Heart, but these problems. I like Forspoken, but these problems. So it's kind of where I'm at. I played some Battlefield, which that actually is those patches have really, really helped out that game. It was a lot of fun. I did get some Hi-Fi Rush. I just finished the first boss where you had to like deplete his budget. I can't remember his name.
Oh yeah, you're not far behind me.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, so I just finished that part. That's where I turned it off.
His name starts cool. Zonzo, right?
Zonzo. Yeah, Zonzo. That's what it was. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing that up, especially after Ryan gave it all the praise in the world.
Oh my God.
I mean,
it's so good.
Yeah. You seriously just my pusher man out here. Hi-Fi Rush and Witcher and Chivalry.
That's right.
What else did I miss? Oh, I messed with Watch Dogs Legion. I missed the sale because
man, that sale was ridiculous.
Yeah, I thought, I don't know why I thought I had got it because I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna reinstall this and I'm gonna play out the Aiden Pierce stuff. And I was like, man, I got it. And I was like, damn, Ken mentioned it, but I didn't go do it. I totally forgot to get it. So, but I didn't never finish that game, so I like restarted it. And that
Legion.
Yes, Legion. Sorry,
Legion had a big sale. Like you could get everything, including the Aiden Pierce DLC, for like under $20.
Yeah, it was like $12,
and it comes with the first game.
Yes, it also came with the first game. Yeah, if you didn't own it, which I actually didn't because my copy was the games with gold version. So I now own that game, I guess.
I don't have enough time because I'm not going to bore everyone with it. Watch Dogs 1 is one of the best games.
Oh yeah,
it talks about current events from the past point of view, and everybody dogged on it. And then we got 2, which was a big joke, and then 3 is just so far out there. But Watch Dogs 1 is so fucking smart, and no one gets it credit.
I like 3 better than 2.
Watch Dogs. Oh yeah, so my order goes 1 Legion, and then at the bottom is 2. 2 is a good game.
It's okay, yeah.
Like it plays well.
Mm-hmm.
I platinumed that game, but there's there's a lot of stuff where I'm like, why is this even here? And some of that continues into Legion, except that they did force you to go into certain places. For the most part, Watch Dogs 2 can be played with just a little remote-controlled drone that you drive around. The RC car. That whole game can almost be done with the RC car.
I didn't realize that. I could see it.
And if you got invaded online, you just throw your drone up in the air, switch to the Eagle Vision option, and you can just see where your enemy is. Yeah, it really broke a lot of the content that made the first game brilliant, in my opinion.
It did. I liked the invasions and stuff in the first one. That was always trying to chase them down and figure out who they were and where they was at.
When you got somebody panicking and they just started firing randomly into the crowd, and the police would come, and you're just like, this is working out in my favor. Well, because you're just supposed to sit there. You're not allowed to fire back when you're the invader. I loved it.
Good job, man. Yeah. What else? Real quick. What else did I play? Oh, Dragon Age Inquisition. I picked that up. So I did actually start that back, I guess, when it first came out, but I never actually finished it. I am out of the hinterland.
That's good, because as soon as you get out of that, you're on your way.
Yeah, I am out of the hinterland. One of the things that I realized last night about that game that I didn't pay attention, but is the like War Room Council. Like I didn't realize that board was full of like little missions that you send those people on, and then like some of them give you resources and stuff. Like I clearly didn't invest a whole lot of time in this when I played it back in the day. I don't know why, but I'm making up for it. So that's a lot of fun. And then some Midnight Suns because the Venom DLC came out. That also still impresses. Very good game. And then the last thing I tried, because somebody sent an email about this, the Dragon Ball The Breakers, that it was free this weekend. The Xbox Live, so every time they give you those live free games where they give you, whatever for a weekend to play, and that Breakers game was on there. That's not bad. It's Dragon Ball Z. Not Left 4 Dead.
Evolve.
Dead by Daylight. Or, Evolve. Actually, yeah, it's more like Evolve, except you're not hunting the raider, you just tried to escape. So yeah, it is a lot like Evolve. If if it had a larger like player base, I probably would get it because it's on sale right now for like $11. It's normally $20, but man, it took like 5 minutes for a match, and
on a free weekend. That's not good.
Right? Like, and then sometimes it would be, a couple seconds, but most of my wait, because I played like, 5 or 6 matches. I think I'm like level 5 in it. But yeah, more often than not, I was waiting more than 4 minutes for a match. So I'm not going to buy it, which is, it's sad it didn't pick off because it actually is a lot of fun. I like the little twist that they kind of made with it, and it fits with the Dragon Ball Z thing too. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got. That's what I've been playing.
Terrence, quick question. Where did you get into Watch Dogs Legion? Did you finish it?
No, I'm still oh man, I don't know precisely where I'm at, but I know
there's a part where you can take on like three parts of the do they allow you to choose?
I thought they did. I think they did.
There is one of those 3 branches has one of the most uncomfortable science fiction stories.
Oh God!
In a video game.
Oh God!
Oh wow!
Yeah, okay. Ken knows what I'm talking
about. And I took a selfie with it.
Oh God!
Okay.
It's one of the most brutal, dark, twisted things I've seen in a video game.
It's pretty fucked up.
Especially with this subject, a lot of the times the subject matter that they cover in that one chapter, which I won't spoil, is done in a more positive light, and it shows you this is the reality of what could happen if that were the case. And it is dark and twisted and made me rethink about how I felt about that concept. The rest of that game is mediocre, except for, like, not mediocre, but, like, doesn't hit the same high. Like, that should have been almost the ending. There is a callback to that at the very end, and I thought that was well done. It's like a post-credits mission that you should do. But outside of, like, a really good...
what this is now.
Outside of a... moment where they use they did it twice. They did it in Watch Dogs 2 as well, where they use a really good Prodigy track for like a fight sequence. I was like, yeah, that was killer. That one's probably the, like, Watch Dogs 1 I loved because of all the little dark stories that it was telling, but none of them reached the high of Watch Dogs Legion, one of the 3. It has to do with the lady that's working on AI technology.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I will let you know when I get there, because I'm like full board kind of back in.
You'll know when you get to the house.
Yeah, when you do the house thing, you'll know.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and this is another game where I turned down the difficulty because I had recruited a secret agent and I was hyped because she was badass and had like a spy car and
you
stuff.
Had permadeath.
Yeah, she got killed, and I was like, "Well, fuck this," and turn that off.
Yeah, I would never understand the appeal of permadeath. Like, nah.
Well, see, my whole thing is with any of these games is I try, and it's funny because I'm the same way with, like, when I order food at a restaurant for the first time. I like to experience it the way it was developed or created, right? So if I don't necessarily like onions, I'm going to have this with onions because they made it with onions, so maybe it tastes really good with this. So same with the game. So the game was made to do the permadeath thing that was, built into its core when you build up this stuff. I just didn't realize how attached I was going to become to some of those characters and then lose them over stupid stuff. I wasn't even on a mission. It was something stupid. She got killed. So yeah, I turned that off. But I'm done. Sorry, I talked long. I apologize.
All right, I will literally shotgun this stuff because I don't have a lot to say that we haven't already talked about. But I did play the Wizard game that shall not be named or whatever. That game is really good. I ain't gonna lie. And I don't know jack or shit about Harry Potter. Like, literally nothing. But that game is wow. Like, they did an amazing job on that game. I revisited Asterigos, Curse of the Stars. That game is a lot better, but it's still not great. That's disappointing.
I installed it because I saw it had an update or something, but I didn't actually boot into it. I'll go ahead and delete it.
What is that game again?
That is the, like, I don't even know how to describe it. I know, Ryan, I think you played it.
Yeah, I did.
It seems like it should be really good. It's a third-person action-adventure game, but man, it just does not feel good.
True story.
Asterigos. And it like feels like it wants to be a mix between a Souls game and something else, but it's not even remotely a Souls game.
So what you talking about now?
I don't know, man. And the DLC that they just released is all post-game, so if you ain't beat it, you can't play it. It's not great. Alright. Any other big... Oh, I played Kirby, Dreamland Deluxe.
Oh, yeah. I need to pick that up.
That is amazing. I mean,
I love the new art style. Yeah, I love the new art style.
Yeah.
That, like, the original was a Wii game and had that sort of generic 3D look, and they've kind of made it look more like pastel. I'll probably end up buying it because I'm a Kirby whore. I end up buying a lot of Kirby shit.
I mean, Kirby's never bad, right?
Same.
Except for maybe that free-to-play game. I don't like that free-to-play game.
What's the free-to-play one?
What's the fighting, like, kind of Smash Brothers game? Yeah, I don't like that game.
Some of the experimental stuff is, like, meh. No, the one that gets me is the Canvas Curse ones.
Yeah,
I don't like those. I don't like those games. I don't like the Rainbow Curse for the Wii U either. Oh, is
that the one that was on the Wii?
Yeah, the Wii U is the Rainbow Curse. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't like that one either. Where you draw the rainbow thing.
A lot of people love it. I can't understand it, to be honest with you. My brain was like, yeah, I don't like this.
I went back to.
But I'm glad it exists.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this new one is amazing. If you like Kirby, you should totally buy it. And I went back to Gotham Knights because I'm like, you know what? They're never going to patch this for 60 FPS, so I'm just going to... that and Hi-Fi Rush are going to be my two games that I finished that have been sitting for a little while. I still like Gotham Knights. I think it's a great game with a good story. You definitely...
That's a game I'm gonna pick up when it's $20.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this game, you can see, like... I think we were talking about this last night, like, WB started building Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad, like when live service games were going to be the next big thing.
Yep.
And they kind of couldn't get away from that structure, so you still see the trappings in there. But I still think Gotham Knights is a really good game. I enjoy it a lot. Same with Hi-Fi Rush. I'm going to finish that. And just to run through the indie games real quick, I'm only going to point out ones that stuck out. Loot Box Life Plus, I really think that's a cool game. It's basically a side-scrolling platformer where... What was the name of the game where you started in 8-bit and then, like, you would...
Yeah. Evoland.
Evoland, yes.
Oh, okay.
So Loot Box Life is similar, but instead of upgrading the visuals, you upgrade your abilities. So, like, the first loot box you open gives you a jump. The second loot box... Yeah.
That is... I'm wondering, is this the same people?
I think it's just a remaster of an older Loot Box Life.
No, I'm looking the Loot Box Life with a LYFE.
Yes, and this one's
on
plus.
PC.
This one's plus.
Okay. So this reminds me of a game that is sort of a brilliant joke called DLC Quest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that game.
Yeah, that was a brilliant game. So it sounds like it's more of a game. Like, it looks like it's more of a game, but yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely like a side-scrolling platformer, and then as you get new loot boxes, you get new abilities, like wall jumps and down
yeah, that's very much DLC Quest.
Yeah.
Where it asks you, like, the DLC Quest ends with you having to buy horse armor.
That's hilarious.
I miss to buy horse armor to get...
Evoland was so cool.
They did 2 games, and then they gave me the collection for free. Because I had 2 on Steam, and then yeah, I don't know if they've done. Has that team done anything else? I'm checking now.
I don't know.
Shiro Game. Oh my god! So Shiro Games is apparently doing the Dune Spice Wars game.
Oh shit! Okay, well there you go.
Wow, okay, that was not expected. Northgard was them, War Tales, and Darksburg.
Okay.
It's all the same Wow. Okay.
The last two games I have were disappointing for different reasons. So there's one called Remorse: The List, and it's a first-person horror game, and it's probably one of the creepiest things I've ever booted up. But I can't play it because they don't allow controller inversion. So it's called Remorse: The List.
I'm gonna ask a question, and I know this is gonna annoy you, Ken. Why don't you just can you set that up in the system to just up and down reverse?
You can, but then I would have to re-switch it for the games that have my controller.
What I'm saying though is how you usually have to switch it to inverse anyways. It would save you the
Yeah, but you're talking about going forward. As I go backwards, I'd have to reset it hundreds of times.
How many games are you going back to?
Dude, I go back to games all the time. I played Jumping Flash this week.
He's okay. So he's arguing, hey, I'm gonna not play video games that I kind of want to play because they don't have an option. Instead of I'm gonna take.
Well, if they patch it at some point, then I will go back to it.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, it's not like I have a limited set of games to play.
No, okay? That's true. It's just one of those things where this is not the first time this problem has come up, and I'm offering a solution.
Well, if I said it and then can you imagine me when people ask me to test their Overwatch stuff on the other TV, and everybody else in my house has the other inverted controls, and I can't even look straight. It's terrible. The other game was called Remoteness, also a first-person shooter. This one was fine because you could invert, but holy shit, I have never seen movement this bad. Imagine as you turn the right stick, it kind of sits there for a second, and then all of a sudden it immediately turns 90 degrees. It is so bad control-wise. I couldn't even get out of the tutorial. I couldn't turn without almost getting sick the way it moved. And there are no options to change the speed up or the sensitivity. I was just how is this bad? How is it this bad? Whew. Okay. So yeah, like I said, I shotgun that. And then I did boot up Legend of Dragoon on PlayStation Network. But I hear there's a bunch of bugs in it. And then, because I'm a sadist and I don't have anything else to play, I booted up Breath of the Wild and started a new game and went through the first dungeon on the Great Plateau, and I was like, you know what? I kind of want to do this again.
You think it's a wise idea to start playing that again with the new one coming out in a couple months?
No, it's dumb. But holy shit, if you haven't played it in a while and you start it over and you get that, Nintendo is so good at that magical opening moment.
Yep.
And as soon as I walked out and I saw the Great Plateau, and then I walked down and I pushed the rock on the goblins, and then I did that first dungeon, I'm like, I totally need to play this again. So good. So good. But anyway, I don't know if I'll do it or not. Let's talk about new releases. Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, Destiny 2 Lightfall, Merge and Blade, Scars Above, which I will be talking about next week. I've been playing that for a couple weeks. Bendy and the Dark Revival, PS5 and Xbox Series X versions of Fight and Rage, which if you've not played that, you should play that. That game is rad. Leap, Iris and the Giant, Mayhem in Single Valley, Power Wash Simulator Midgar Special Pack, Jurassic Pinball, The Smile Alchemist, and Wolong Fallen Dynasty. I'm surprised nobody talked about that game, because there was a demo that went up this week.
Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
I did not play the demo.
Everybody's talking good about it. Everybody says it's pretty good.
It's not bad. It is. I know because Jay reviewed it, but he said it.
Well, he hasn't reviewed it yet.
Oh,
it's not
okay,
out yet. Shh, be
Oh,
quiet.
that's right. My bad.
Shh, shut up.
Edit this out. Just cut and paste. The demo wasn't bad though. It depends a lot on the parry mechanics. So if you're not really good at parrying, this game could be difficult for you.
Also,
but
isn't
I will say
like
the window's
enemy
pretty generous.
like isn't the enemy levels like based on like confidence or something like that? Didn't I hear somebody?
Yes, yeah,
Morale.
It's really
Morale.
weird.
Okay,
Morale. Yeah. It's a totally different setup. So like you'll have your morale, which will go up when you defeat enemies, and if an enemy defeats you, it'll go down. Well, there's a threshold level where your morale can't go lower than what your like level is. So if you're like a level 5, your morale won't ever drop below that. So what happens is you'll come across, for instance, in the demo, you come across this tiger demon who is morale level, because everybody has their little circle. You'll see it over him. He was level 14. I'm like level 5, and I'm like, well,
I mean,
okay,
the game told you don't fuck with him.
It did. It absolutely did. But I am hard-headed, and I was like, nope, I'm going to beat this tiger. Nah, I'm not good enough to beat that tiger. So after dying like 15 times, I found the alternate route. So basically, that's what it is. So you're meant to go around when you see someone with a larger morale.
Well, and every time something kills you, it reduces your morale and increases its, right?
And increases its. Yup.
Right.
I forgot about that.
So it makes it so if you get killed, it makes it harder to beat that the next time.
That sounds like a nightmare if the bosses work in that same mechanic.
They do.
Okay, that sounds like a nightmare. I don't ever want to play this game.
Well, I don't know if the bosses do, because I'm at the boss for Zhong, because it's based on the three kingdoms, like the Dynasty Warriors stuff.
Lu Bu up in this bitch.
Yeah, Lu Bu, I'm pretty sure he's in it, but I'm at one of the boss fights, and I've lost to him a bunch. Like I can finish his first phase, but his second phase is the most. His power doesn't go up, so maybe it doesn't do it on the bosses, but it does it on everything. I was
going to say
Yellow Turban Rebellion.
So
yes,
I think I misunderstood the notion of, because you can save right before the boss, right? If you need to go level up or morale up.
Well, it's a Soulsborne, so you can only save at those checkpoints, the little fires. In this, you put up a banner, but there's literally there's a banner like right before the boss fight. So like you're in a good spot. So if you need to go level up your morale, which you should do, because even if your morale directly translates to your power and defense. So the higher your morale, you're going to do more damage, or you're going to be able to take more hits. So I mean, if you can get that up before you go to a fight, that's definitely what you want to do.
I could see me making the first boss entirely impossible at some point, which just sounds like a nightmare.
It sounds like if Terrence is right, I think then you don't have to worry about that.
Maybe I'll try it. Bosses, it's on Game Pass, so I'll try it.
Yeah.
There's no harm in trying it.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at. I'm gonna try it because it's on Game Pass. But the demo, the first, and there's no difficulty. Unfortunately, it stops because here lately we're getting those games where like Steel Rising.
Well, you got one. You got one.
Oh yeah, that was the only one.
Like everybody else is like, nah, we gonna make a Soulsborne. If you don't, get good. Bitches.
Get good. Yeah. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. It's okay.
Clive and Wrench. It's coming to PS5 and Switch. Here's an Anthony game. Brock the Investigator, as in Gator. So apparently this is a beat 'em up mixed with a point and click.
Yes. It's been on PC for a while.
That's out on consoles this week. Mayhem in Single Valley. No Longer Home, and I'm assuming this is a physical copy of the Rumblefish 2 for PlayStation. So PS4, Xbox One, pretty much the same stuff. We're also getting Vampire the Masquerade, the New York Bundle. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce this game. Void Star TRRLM2 parentheses.
Hold on.
Dude.
It's Void Terrarium.
Yeah, it's Void Terrarium 2, but like the title is Void Star TRLM2 parentheses. Yeah,
that sounds like the Winter Soldier's activation code. Like, you said a bunch of random one.
I hope he's not listening to the show because we just activated him.
You just turned him on. Shoot.
No, it's some guy that works overnights at a gas station that we just activated.
All right. So everything else is the same. Xbox One. Everything else is the same. We're getting Meg's Monster, whatever that is. Venaris Tactics.
Oh, good. Good for Meg.
Yeah. Then Switch. Click in. North America. All right. Century Paragon. Afterthought. Choice of Life, Middle Ages 2, Lucy Dreaming, Splatoon 3 Expansion Pass Wave 1, Inkopolis, A Fox and
Sorry, what was the Middle Ages one?
Choice of Life, Middle Ages 2.
The Choice of Life, Die of the Plague, or hold on,
or Die of Bad Dentistry.
Yes,
Yeah.
Maybe some dysentery.
Green
Right.
Shit.
Green Soldiers Heroes, which sounds like an Army Man ripoff. You remember that?
Oh,
series?
Those were
God.
so good. The plastic.
Sarge's-
Oh, those are good.
Sarge's Heroes. Portal Runner. Was
Oh
an Army Man
God!
game.
With the lion. Oh. Ken Follett's The Pillars of the Earth.
Wait, what? Where's that coming to?
Switch. I'm on Switch.
Oh, okay, because that game's been out for a while.
Airy Calm Mind 3. Bonfire Peaks Lost Memories. Chess Pills? What are chess pills?
Nah, that's a great
That was
question.
unpleasant. Jesus.
Dream Park Story. Fitness Boxing Fist of the North Star. That's that weird.
Oh,
Yeah.
I kind of want to do that.
Yeah, that's a weird game. Hike Valley, Live Factory, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Tower of Doom. Here we go.
So
Mm.
I looked up chess pills because I needed to know. You have to guess the right move, but you're running out of time. Use the orange pill to get sharp and focus on the right piece, or use the turquoise pill to chill and slow the time, but beware, the abuse of substances can cause side effects.
So it's
Bro.
just
Puzzle
like
game.
chess players abusing Adderall.
Yeah.
Yes, and then having a vibrator in their ass so they can get the right move from some...
Okay.
Do you not know? Wait, you said that. I think I heard Terrence make a noise, and then Ken just went, "Okay." Do you know what I'm referencing?
No, I
know
I
what
don't.
I have no clue.
So
I don't.
in the chess, was it the Masters?
I can't remember
I
what
don't
tournament
know.
It was a tournament, and one of the Masters went up against a guy, played like one move, and then forfeit the match because he was certain the guy was cheating. Now this guy has cheated online before. So I don't know why he would have been allowed anyways. And the rumor is that it was through a vibrator that was like controlled by someone to like, I don't know, like send a telegram through his ass.
Was he sending out an SOS?
Wait,
Is that what he was?
Yes.
God damn it. Pretty good.
Oh, that was good. Oh, wow. Yeah, I had not heard that. That's
Yeah,
wild.
it's a big scandal.
Holy shit. Alright, Pretty Girls Breakers Plus. You can probably figure out what that is. The Smile Alchemist. Disaster Detective Saiga, The Indescribable Mystery. Gunman Tales. Row. Ruku's Heart Balloon. Ruku is what my son calls the Roku. He calls it the Ruku. The Atla Archives and Void Scrappers. There's your new releases for the week. Hilarious. Alright, let's do some news. Woof. Microsoft increased the price of Series S and X in Sweden. Went up to, I don't know what the Sweden currency's called, but it's essentially $600 and $375 US. Which, yeah. New game.
It's Krona. I was gonna say Kroger's, but that's not right.
No, that's totally not. No, that's a grocery store.
I had to look it up. Yeah, I was like, it's something. It's Krona apparently.
Let's go Krogering. New Game Pass games. We got Merge and Blade, Soul Hackers 2, F122, and Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Apparently, Josh Ortega, writer of Gears of War 2, is returning to the series and will work on the next Gears game. Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, and I think I read that Ortega was somewhere else recently, right? And had written something that was pretty critically acclaimed recently.
You may be right. I do not know.
I can't remember what it is, and I don't know that I have time to look it up here. Hold on. You keep going. I'll look it up.
Game Pass Friends and Family has expanded to 6 more countries, including Chile, Hungary, Israel, New Zealand, South Africa, and Sweden. But not the U.S. Microsoft had their court appearance this week, and out of it, NVIDIA GeForce Now has confirmed that they will have Xbox games. They signed a 10-year Call of Duty deal on Switch. Motherfucker had the Call of Duty deal in his pocket and pulled it out for Sony.
That was like, I get what he was trying to say, but I was like, bro, that's a lot. You
that
ain't
is a
walking
lot.
around with this fucking Manila envelope in your hand waiting for a Sony person to come and be like, I'm ready to sign. Like, nigga, calm down. Like, I get what he tried to say, though. But...
So, according to Xbox in this argument, the market share in the EU is 80-20 in favor of PlayStation. Worldwide, it's 70-30. You want to guess Japan? Japan's the fun one.
95.
You close. It's 96-4.
Wow. I was close. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm wrong. Apparently, that guy it's comic books that
okay.
he writes generally.
This was an interesting story. Shinji Mikami is leaving Tango Gameworks.
Yep.
Yeah, I wonder.
I don't know if he's going.
He's going to retire.
I think he's retiring.
Yeah, he's over 60, right? I mean,
I don't think he's quite over 60 yet. I think he's in his late 50s.
But I mean, yeah.
I mean, depending on who you listen to, he's retiring because the Xbox is terrible, and
sure, and he's going to PlayStation.
He hates his life working there. Yeah,
he's 57, and this is not a surprise because he was kind of the lady there that was doing Ghostwire Tokyo. At the beginning,
she left him.
She was kind of. I think the point was that he was trying to get someone into basically his position so he could bow out, and then she left, so he had to do that.
I think he retires. I think he's just. I mean, he's done it. You know.
I guess he didn't direct it, but so he was kind of more hands-on than I think he was expecting. And then the guy that's
one that did Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush, I think, is going to be the guy that probably is the next guy in charge.
That's probably why they put him next to him and said this is his game in that developer direct.
Yeah, they made a big deal out of that.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the replacement. I think Mikami's just like, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to go enjoy my golden years.
And let's be honest.
I wonder if he'll consult for somebody, though. 56 is pretty young to be full-time retired. 57, sorry.
I mean, I have a feeling he's going to do I don't want to do this anymore, back away, and then he might come back, right? Like, he might come back
like
as...
Cliffy B?
Cliffy B still ain't back, though.
We don't...
Yeah.
I mean,
he left. Oh, I thought he was.
No,
he left, and then did those 2 games that didn't go anywhere, Lawbreakers and the other one.
Oh, that Battle Royale.
Something Heights.
Yeah, Radical Heights.
Radical Heights. And then he's kind of been gone, but like I would say more like John Romero, who stepped away for a long time after, Ion Storm disappeared and hadn't really touched Doom, and then he was like, you know what, I'm going to make a new Megawad for Doom, and I'm going to work on a new game, and I'm going to do all this.
Hey, he put a game out, if you don't remember. Yeah, the strategy Mafia game.
Yeah, so like I could see him doing something like John Romero.
I'd be down for I was down for Shinji Mikami with Microsoft money. Imagine that game.
I could see him though if he does come back and consulting for like either Capcom or Nintendo.
Yeah, I could see that.
They could bring him in for a project, and if you remember back in the GameCube days, he was ride or die for Nintendo.
And the Capcom 5, baby.
Yeah. So
how have we not got a port of PNO3? How has that not happened?
Because it's the worst out of the games. How have you not gotten a port? But it's the worst out of the games.
Sure, but
they released Beautiful Joe.
Dude, everything gets a port nowadays. We're getting a port of
Beautiful Joe hasn't gotten a port.
No,
that seems like a miss. But I mean, Enclave is getting a port. How can we not get a PNO3?
Because European jank always gets ported.
Yeah, they did just do Risen, which was
dude. That wasn't someone who loves European jank. That's absolutely true.
That wasn't even a port. That wasn't even a remaster. That was just a straight port.
They're remaking Gothic.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I heard that. I heard that. I don't know why we're whispering about it, but I heard that.
I don't want the world to know.
Yeah, I don't want to put that out into the world. I hope everybody else forgets too.
All right.
Yeah.
Toru Okada, the creator of the legendary PlayStation sound, has passed away at 73.
Does everybody know what sound they're referring to?
Yeah, the boot up of the PS1.
No.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what he created. He created the PlayStation boot up.
He created the shong sound.
Well, I mean that's still in the boot up.
It's but it's not that.
When the disc loads, it goes.
It's not but it's not the. It's not the sound everybody thought. Everybody thought it was the. Yeah.
And we all are terrible at pantomiming.
The mouth effects here is just hilarious.
It's the one that you would see at the beginning of all the PlayStation 2 ads. And it's
now they
just
go fight. Oh god!
It's just the end of PlayStation like looped on top of itself. So the shun part of PlayStation.
That's how he made the sound. Oh wow!
Yes, he did.
Oh, okay.
But that's because everybody was like, "Oh, it's the boot up of PlayStation's original." No, he didn't write that music. But you would know the sound immediately if you heard it, because they played that at the beginning of every PlayStation ad for a long time.
Speaking of PlayStation, okay, PlayStation had a state of play that did not have the shroom sounds. They kicked it off with PlayStation VR 2 because that thing just came out.
It just came out.
It did just come out.
And
notice nobody on this podcast talked about it.
No, because we didn't get one, and ain't nobody spending $550 on that.
Hell no.
I would buy a PlayStation 5.
I was gonna say, yeah, you can get one cheaper. You can get a cheaper PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
They announced some new games, including the Foglands, which is out in 2023. Green Hell VR, which is already on MetaQuest 2 and Steam. Synapse. Journey to Foundation.
I'm on that.
Everybody seems to be on it. It's coming to PSVR 2, MetaQuest 2, and Pico 4.
I don't know what that is.
That's a VR headset, apparently.
Okay.
And then Before Your Eyes. Those are the games
that looks
they show.
Cool.
Is that the blinking game?
Mm-hmm.
When you blink and shit changes?
Yep, you can control it with your eyes, and that's the big draw, which I do think that's cool with the PSVR tech, is that it is...
It looks at you when you blink?
Yeah, like you can read your eye movements and stuff. That's kind of some dope tech.
Okay,
but
so I looked at
$500.
I looked at the Pico 4 because I've never heard of this before in my life. It is made by ByteDance.
Sure. Okay.
That's
ByteDance.
Yeah.
It sounds like an 80s Kevin Bacon movie.
It's a Chinese company. It's a Chinese. I've read something about them.
TikTok. That's who they are.
Thank you, Jesus.
They're TikTok?
ByteDance sounds like it'd be something the vampires in Blade do.
That's true. That's true too.
Up in the club.
In that song. Yep. That song's playing.
The New Order remix. Yeah.
All right. Continuing down, they showed off Destiny 2 Lightfall. Chia? Is that how you say that?
Chia.
Something like that, yeah.
It's also
the pottery that grows.
Day one to PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium.
Which is cool.
Humanity. Goodbye Volcano High. Ugh. That game.
Yeah, that game looks weird.
No. I'm not about any part of that game. That's the dinosaur band rhythm game.
Oh, yeah, no.
Hold on. That was Volcano High. I don't know what the fuck
You really don't know what this game is, so it's a really bad...
It looks like it would be a parody of an actual game.
Yeah,
it does.
It's...
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking at... This looks like, and I say this with fondness for the time, this looks like a Flash game.
It's...
Like, it reminds me of, like, those weirdly high-level anime... And I'm sure in motion, but the screenshots remind me of, like, wow, somebody's put, like, a lot of detail into this Flash animation. It's weird in comparison to, like, all the other stuff. Yeah, I'm not feeling this game already.
No.
I'm not kidding when I say that game looks like it would be like a parody game that they play in Amazing World of Gumball.
Okay.
And I love Amazing World of Gumball, but that's what it looks like.
You're right, but Amazing World of Gumball also references Final Fantasy VII and stuff. So with the summons, this game is for a specific crowd of y'all know furries, right?
Oh
yes, of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is for scalies. That's a real thing. Have fun with that knowledge.
I'm not Googling that. No, thank you.
I would not.
Naruto X Boruto Ultimate Ninja Storm Connections.
Cross, I think.
Cross, yeah, it's Cross.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't nerd hard enough. I'll try harder next time.
Come on now.
You don't remember Street Fighter Cross Tekken?
Oh, I remember.
That's what it was. I couldn't remember. Yeah,
I remember that game. I remember the gems.
Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
So apparently this is
I'm somebody who loves both Street Fighter and Tekken, and it wasn't great.
Yeah. So apparently this game is like all of the Naruto and Boruto games, like remixed or something.
How many Naruto Boruto games are there?
There's 3 Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games, right? Or 4?
Yeah, there's 3 because you don't count the latest one because that one is more of a, I don't even know what to call it.
I love that they were like, we need a counterpart to Naruto. Okay, Boruto.
Boruto. His name is Boruto,
and
I remember
his son.
Yeah, I remember making fun of Jason Gambrell the first time he talked about Naruto and Boruto.
Guys, don't keep butchering this man's name. His name is Boruto. Anyway, I don't even watch the show because my kids love.
Oh, my son loves Naruto.
But I hate his English voice actor. The woman that I cannot stand Naruto's voice. Like the action in that show is fire. But when he opens his mouth to talk, I just want to cut him. Like I don't know.
Believe it.
Yes, but no, those games are actually good. If you like anime fighting games, like I actually probably.
Well, now you can get them all in one big pack in Naruto X Boruto.
Boruto, stop butchering this man's name.
Baldur's Gate 3 got a release date, August 31st. It's coming to PS5 and PC. And boy, did this cause a hoopla on the internet.
Controversy. Controversy.
Oh.
Well, if the Xbox didn't suck so bad.
That's true.
Yeah.
If we didn't have the Series S, which is holding back all development of every game.
The developer specifically said that's not the reason.
Yeah, no, but it is, because the PlayStation Twitter icons told me that it was.
Mm-hmm. The man who did a video on YouTube and put his hands to his mouth like he's Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
My god. I can't. Red background in the thumbnail, and it's like, I can't believe this. I made this video in 5 minutes after just making this information up in my ass.
All I know is I'm getting Baldur's Gate 3 on my birthday, and I'm excited.
Hell yeah. I'm getting Baldur's Gate on your birthday. Well, I already own it. I got it on PC.
I'm 100% clipping Anthony's like, I got this game in my ass.
Oh yeah, that was good. You should. That was good. That was really funny.
I can't stand those people. Like,
oh shit.
The nice thing. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say it because I know someone will be like, well, you do stuff like dumb stuff too on this podcast, and you're right. But I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing it because I'm just legitimately this stupid, guys. That's the difference. I know I'm dumb, and I'm not trying to monetize off of like conspiracy theories that I make up in my head. I give them out for free because they're goddamn not worth anything. And these guys come out there as fast as possible with the least amount of information and are like, I'm gonna make $5 whole with all these clicks I'm gonna get before the information's proven an hour later.
That happened with the Redfall disc. I remember that.
Yep.
Same thing.
I'm leaving it up for posterity's sake. Are ya?
Right. Like,
are
what?
You now?
Well, because they said technically that this, so I'm going to leave it up.
It's going to be applied. Oh, wait, really, the disc doesn't really matter.
Right. Well, they're just going to make another video saying, well, you got to be online to play it anyway, so...
Yeah, and then my favorite ones are when they do the ones where it's like them in like a thinking pose, and like it just says, about my last video, where they go into like while they were wrong.
I've made an L shape with my thumb and my forefinger, and I put it to my chin, and I'm looking up at one of the corners of the thumbnail, and then
you forgot the most important piece. You forgot the most important piece is all the games in the shelves behind
it.
But
that's in the actual video. I don't go that far because I look at your thumbnail and I go, I'm not clicking this shit.
Yeah, that's typically how I am too. Like
if you're making a surprised face, like, oh my god, I can't believe it, I assume the information's gonna be boring as shit.
Yep.
Or just completely not factually correct, which is
also that.
That's usually what it is. And I'm like, no, I'll wait for the official trailer, not yours. But the Baldur's Gate 3 thing, I don't know if you're going to say this. It does have cross-play and cross-progression. So even though it's not launching on the Xbox, which it may still, they're working on it. They just aren't ready to say when it's coming out. If you started on PC or PS5, you can go back to the Xbox one when it comes out, which is what I'll be doing.
I mean, if you want to spend the money twice, of course you can do that.
Yes,
why wouldn't you?
Can. Well, see, I bought it on early access, so it was a little cheaper. No, wow, Stadia.
It was on Stadia.
On Steam. I didn't realize that. I bought it on Steam because I was hoping to play it with the Steam Deck, and they didn't have controller connectivity or a bit availability at the time, which they're bringing that, so now I can actually. It's another reason for me to probably get a Steam Deck. But anyways, yeah, Ryan, your birthday. I got you, homie. We
That's right.
These dungeons. Let's do it.
That's right. I'm in.
All right.
I love the first two Baldur's Gate games, so I just hope that it does the legacy well. I'm sure it will, though, because Larian, the first two games were excellent, so I can't imagine it not being good.
Mm-hmm.
Next game up was Wayfinder. I don't remember this game.
It's action. It's a multiplayer action RPG.
This is the one that looks like Borderlands, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It's basically like Borderlands, but with kind of like it's in third person, basically, because it even has like a.
Oh, this is the one. Was this the one when I saw the trailer? It was like people. Oh no, this wasn't the one where they were floating with the little parasols and stuff. This is something. No, I do remember this game though. This looks like World of Warcraft.
Yeah, it kind of, and it does have an MMO-ish feel. My question, though, is if it's free to play or not. Because what I played, and even how it kind of looks, I could see it being free to play. But I'm gonna check it out because this is, I think it's Airship Syndicate, which is Joe Mad's studio, and I
that would explain the designs.
Oh yeah,
my god,
much.
That explains a lot of the designs.
Yeah. So I love him anyway. So I'm gonna check it out either way. But the little bit I played, it was fun. But it felt very, games as a service, I guess. So it's going to be kind of that type of game. So if you're not into that, you probably won't dig it. But go ahead, sorry.
By the way, it's published by Digital Extremes, so it could be. It's not saying anything here, so maybe they're still trying to figure out if they want to sell it.
I think that's what it is. Because because it was an alpha that I played, because the PS5 is getting a beta where they can join in, and it felt it could go either way. It could be a free to play game.
I found a article from Eurogamer that says Wayfinder is Joe Mad Studios' new free to play online action RPG.
There you go.
I'm taking Eurogamer for their word.
Next up was the Street Fighter 6 trailer with Zangief, Lily, and Cammy. Internet
Looks good.
Internet got in a tizzy over that Cammy pose, I tell you.
Man, didn't they?
Yep.
I was looking at Zangief, not like that. I was looking at Zangief. I'm still talking. I haven't stopped. So stop. You can't say anything because I haven't stopped talking yet. I was looking at Zangief
but we can still
because of his moveset. Because I never play the grappler characters, and he looked real cool. And I was like, oh, his little grapples look smooth. Okay, now you can flame me. Go ahead.
What about I'm glad you think his grapples look smooth.
In here.
That game is going to be rad. That's all the characters.
I can't wait.
What was the pose that everybody was upset about? I don't.
Well, they weren't upset. They weren't upset.
Oh,
no, they were different. They had a different emotion to that.
Very, very lonely.
I see. It's what, guys? Let's just take some joy in the fact that it's not the Jacko pose.
I mean, maybe that's in there. You don't know.
Please bring up the Tifa. The Tifa statue.
Tifa
There's
statue.
an update on the Tifa statue. There's an update on the Tifa statue. There's a naked version. Oh,
there's a naked. Wow. Poor Tifa.
Yeah, man, it's just really
like,
sad all around.
Like, that's just going to some death. Like,
I mean,
it's really sad all
who
around.
Who modeled that? Because that dude or lady, I don't know. I don't judge, but
it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, Street Fighter looks hot. Like, I'm pretty excited. I don't want to play. I'm not gonna play for a while with you, Ken. I'm not gonna play with
no,
Jay
it ain't
for
me.
a while because y'all niggas crazy. Nah, y'all.
No,
fighting
I am
champs.
not good at fighting games. Don't get that messed up. That's Jay. Jay will
I'm pretty
Mortal
sure
Kombat.
He's good at Mortal Kombat. Perfectly did. Oh, that's the only one you're good at?
I'm not even good at that. I just play it a lot. Just because I play it a lot doesn't mean I'm good at it.
He's good at Mortal Kombat.
No, I'm definitely not good at Mortal Kombat.
Wait, I'm sorry you're not random dude that shows up in matches, plays every character, and then just teabags immediately.
Teabags. Turbo teabags and bits.
I'm out. Resident Evil 4 Remake, new trailer, March 24th, demo coming soon, and Mercenaries will be free post-launch DLC.
That sold it for me.
Thank God,
actually,
it's better
because
than...
I was on the fence. Because I said I wasn't going to buy that
game. The Mercenaries is what sent you over?
Yes, Mercenaries is so good.
I
hope they have.
Care about Mercenaries.
Really? Oh,
I mean, it's better than Reverse.
Reverse was terrible.
Yeah, me and LB spent so many. Oh my God, we played the hell out of Mercenaries in Resident Evil 5.
Dude, I'm gonna say this as kindly as I can. When's the last time you played Resident Evil 5?
Oh, it's been a while. See,
it's bad.
Okay, listen.
It's not good.
When y'all hear me wax poetic about video games of the past, it's because I don't revisit a lot. So I'm still living fondly in those memories. If I replay, I can probably name on one hand the games that I've replayed. Knights of the Old Republic is one that I know I've replayed multiple times. But like Resident Evil 5, no, I played it a bunch when it came out, but I haven't played it since then.
You should go boot it up.
So I remember those. No, because it'll ruin it.
Co-op RE5 is still a good time.
You haven't played it either. Dude, the control in that game is so bad.
It's better than some modern co-op.
I don't even want to go back and do it because we had so much fun with Resident Evil 5.
Awful.
That game, like, I tried to play it a couple years ago, and the controls are so bad.
Man, I want to bring Sheva back. Because, why are we Metal Gear? Why are we whispering? What is this?
I don't know. Finally, they showed the Suicide Squad, and boy, that also tore up the internet.
Yeah. So, what do y'all think about, and I don't mean to take over your show here, brother, I apologize. What do y'all think about Suicide Squad? What do y'all feel
about?
Hey, go around the room. What do you think? Okay, let's start with Anthony. Anthony, go ahead. What you think?
I still don't know what they're aiming for. And seeing the menus makes me think they were. I think word got out that Avengers was happening. Everybody wanted to get on board because obviously we'd seen Anthem, earlier, but before Marvel's Avengers came out, and they were like, "We're gonna do that." And I think DC and Warner and in turn Rocksteady were like, "We need something that competes with that." But then they had two teams doing that sort of game, and nobody likes those types of games, really. Like, you have to be really, really good at a specific... Like, I'm going to be honest with you, Destiny, I think, gets away with it because Destiny's one of the best feeling shooters ever.
Well, it's Bungie's influence.
It's because it's Bungie. Yeah.
100%.
So, it's easy to get obsessed with that when that loop of replaying the same levels and stuff over and over and over to grind gear and everything because it feels really good to play Destiny. Mm-hmm. So I think they were like, well, we have to compete with that. And here we are where they're stripping out all those elements to make a game that will sort of not exist as a live service. And that never works out well. Like, the games on Apple Arcade that have had their monetization clearly stripped out of it you can still tell, right? Like, it's not like those are, easily just a switch that you turn off. That's built into the way the game works. So that's what I think about this. Like, I didn't know what it was going to be, and I kind of had my worries it was going to be this. Like, and judging by, like, the menus alone, I'm like, so it was that. It was that, and now you're scrambling to unfuck this mess.
I don't even think that. I think they're going to go right ahead with the games as a service thing, because they talk about the battle pass and stuff. Like, it's all of the menus. Like, I think it's going to be like,
Well, you got to be online to play it, too.
I'm just disappointed because, like, say what you will about, I think Arkham City isn't as, I think you got diminishing returns on all the Arkham games, personally. City was a neat idea, but, like, Asylum still, I think, is the best experience. But it's disappointing that Rocksteady is this now. You know what I mean? What? Like, this is their first stain, really.
Well, we don't know if it's a stain because you haven't played it.
But potentially, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it seems like, wow, so the team that brought us arguably the best Batman games ever are being potentially forced to do something that is so far from what they made there. And that formula clearly works because a bunch of other people have sort of ripped off Batman. Mad Max, which was a Warner Brothers game, ripped off Batman and worked well. Shadows of Mordor was basically, you know what I mean? Yep. So, like, that formula works, and Warner Brothers knows that and is decided to follow somebody else. From the looks of it, maybe this game comes out and it's wrong. I'm wrong, and I'd much prefer to be wrong in this particular case. I just don't have any interest in multiple people running around in my world, because that's not why I went to Arkham and their Batman games. Like, that's just not what I think of with that studio. It'd be like NetherRealm making a platformer. I'm not really interested in what they do with there, because that's not why I play their games.
Right.
Yeah.
So, two things. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Terrence.
Okay, real quick. So you said, that Asylum was the best, kind of Batman-esque experience. Honestly, and Ken can back me up or he can disagree, that's fine. I think Gotham Knights is, if you stripped out the Gotham Knights and made that a Batman game, that's a perfect Batman game.
It's pretty good, night. But I don't think it's as tight as Arkham.
Well, I mean, no, I'm talking about experience. Yeah. I'm talking about experience-wise as to what Batman is as a character. You go out each night and you solve random crimes to find clues for bigger crimes. Yep. You have your Batmobile. I mean, it's Batman. Like, if you put him in that and take them out, that's the Batman experience.
But it's all the stuff that's, like, clearly, again, remnants in even that game from what I've seen, because I haven't played that game either. But from what I've seen, I'm like, I can still see they were thinking, or they had some plans to make a live service out of Gotham Knights as well.
When the enemies drop, materials, yes, 100%.
So that's why I'm saying, like, if you're asking me what's the best feeling experience overall, gameplay wise, character wise, it's Arkham Asylum. I do love, like, all the Riddler trophies around Arkham City. I think that was far more interesting than some of the ones in Asylum. But, like, it's the certain developers you go to, like, I just talked about Bungie. You go to them because they make really good first-person shooters. Some of the best feeling first-person shooters. If tomorrow they change their plan, and that's funny because they did RTSs as well. And that's what Halo was originally supposed to be. So, but if they went and did something that was totally left field, like a fighting game, you'd be like, yeah, okay. Yeah. And it could end up being really good, but it's just, like, to me, it's like, I don't see how Rocksteady is being used to their full potential here. And I'm not asking for another Asylum. I'm just saying, like, character action's kind of where they focused on, and multiplayer is a different way of thinking when it comes to game design. Not everything sticks. Sorry.
I don't think that it has been proven yet that games as a service is the right genre for superhero games. Avengers didn't work. Gotham Knights, I know you guys like it, but generally speaking, the consensus is it didn't really work.
Is that a games for a service, though?
Well, they pulled it all out.
It's got those same kind of elements. Yeah. Anthem, which is not a superhero game, but it's pretty close to a superhero game, didn't work.
Man.
So the fear that I have is that we had a whole bunch of devs make up their mind at the same time after seeing some games as a service games like Destiny, that was the way to go. And so they all decided they were going to make superhero games of that style at the same time. And I fear that they're all going to come out at the same time and not be very good. Now, what I've seen of the game, does it look interesting? It looks interesting. I don't understand why you make a superhero game that has 4 different superheroes in it, or super whatever you want to call them, super villains, super anti-heroes, I don't care. And then you have them all, it looks like at least, play the same.
Yes.
Like it's just a it's just a shooter. Like
that's my problem.
That's Destiny. That's Destiny.
Yeah, it's
all over again.
And it works for Destiny because Destiny's a shooter. Like it's not a superhero game. They have superpowers or magical powers or whatever you want to call them, but it's not a superhero game, right? And so if you tell me that we're going to let you play as Captain Boomerang, first thing I'm going to say is why. But no, just kidding. That's just a shot at DC. I'm going to expect to be able to throw boomerangs.
Right.
Like, if you tell me I'm King Shark, I'm going to expect King Shark to play different than Harley Quinn or Deadshot or Captain Boomerang.
He should be a tank.
The gameplay they have showed so far looks all the same. Like, you kind of fly around a little bit and shoot things, and it looks like people have some unique melee, but that's about it. And I'll reserve judgment until I actually get to play the game because I'm interested in it. And I'm interested in it, if nothing else, because Rocksteady's making it, and so I'm confident it'll be at least a competent game.
Man,
but man, it's concerning to me how similar everybody seems to play, and how much it's basically just a shooter game with a superhero skin.
Yeah.
Truth be told, and this is me being the nerd that I am, they chose 4 characters who basically use guns. So
does Captain Boomerang use guns?
I mean, he has. He specializes in boomerangs, obviously, but I mean, most of them use a firearm of some kind. You could reserve a little bit more for King Shark, but
King Shark should be melee focused and be a tank.
And I agree with that. But then you got enemies flying. You've got enemies that are far away sniping at you.
You should throw stuff.
Well, I mean,
pick up items in the environment and throw cars.
They did that, and they did that in the Avengers, and it was the Hulk, and it wasn't necessarily fun to play as the Hulk
because it's kind of a bad idea in general.
Exactly. So
I'm going to sell this to you as a different game altogether for a moment. What game has 4 characters, and they're all different abilities, and you go through a long first-person shooter RPG with them?
Borderlands,
which has the same sense of humor as what they want the Suicide Squad to have, and it looks like they didn't look at Borderlands at all, and I can't believe that. Because while we didn't necessarily love 3, because I don't think anyone talked about it much after launch either, like, that game works with people that, yes, they can all use the same weapons, but they do play very differently once you start unlocking skills. And so...
Well, maybe this will be different. Maybe this will be like Borderlands. I don't know.
But
they have a skill tree.
They have a skill tree. It's just... I don't know, man.
I think
it's a bummer.
So none of us are really going to know, right, until the game comes out.
Right.
So we're all just speculating based on a pretty short snippet of gameplay. But for me, what they've shown so far has not made me more excited for the game.
Yeah,
I could see if it was a 4-player co-op game where you played as Superman, Batman, the Flash and maybe Green Lantern, those 4 characters should all play completely differently. But when you've got characters who are basically just, rogues that, sometimes, Harley will pull out a hammer or Deadshot will use a sniper rifle. They all still use guns in their day-to-day life.
I don't disagree with you, Drew, but that argument starts with the notion that they couldn't have just made the much more interesting sounding Batman, Superman, Green Lantern game that you just described.
That you just talked about. I want to play that.
The game you just described is much more interesting to me than the Suicide Squad characters and the limitations that may come with that. So that, I guess, is the disappointing part. Is like, okay, well, if they could have made a Justice League games as a service game, and it would have been more interesting, why didn't they make that?
I don't know.
I don't know how licensing work.
I'm going to tell you one of the things that's bothered me in DC's been, this is comic book related, DC's been trying to force it a lot, and they're bringing him back. There's this weird obsession with, what if Superman was bad? And they have that crime syndicate, which is an alternate version of the Justice League, where they're all evil, come. And it's not Batman, it's Owlman, and it's Ultraman, it's Superman. I can't remember what Wonder Woman's equivalent is. I mean, the Flash has some weird name. And, I'm gonna be honest with you, that what if Superman was bad is an interesting thought for a whole 2 minutes. And then you really just realize, the characterization of Superman is interesting because he's a good person who could literally level everything if he wanted to. That's what makes him interesting. So being these criminals have to go and stop Superman and all the other superheroes, it's okay. And DC is doing it again because now they're launching a bunch of new comics because they had a big event that's not a reset but whatever, called Dawn of DC, and they're having John Kent, Superman's son, go across the multiverse, whatever they call it in DC, and he's going to try to get revenge against Ultraman for stealing his childhood because he was aged up in the comics and it's dumb. Anyways, Ultraman sucks. He's not a good character. And making Superman evil is never fun. The best representation of evil Superman, and I say that with air quotes, was Red Sun, because it was what if Superman landed in Russia rather than America? That's an interesting concept, because it's not necessarily that he's evil, it's that he has a different set of morals because he grew up somewhere completely different. Evil Superman sucks, and that's what they seem to have this hard on that people seem to love, what Superman could be bad, and that's the reason why, and I hate to shit on Zack Snyder because it's annoying and everybody's tired of hearing it, but it's that's the reason why his Batman versus Superman sucked too. The reason why they fought was because they were two friends that had different ideas, because one of them ages and gets old and the other one doesn't, and he's stuck in time. And that's the reason why they fight in this Dark Knight Strikes Back. Strikes Again? No. Oh my god.
Dark Knight Returns.
Dark Knight Returns, right. Yeah. Strikes Again is the second one. Dark Knight Returns. So, it's just there's this weird hard-on for making Superman evil, and it's just that's even how they're selling this game, right? With the first poster was Superman looking behind him with evil eyes, and it's just I don't get it. It's not fascinating to me. It's the lowest form of interest. Just ooh, what if? And what if is really boring.
Yeah.
They're not gonna let you kill those characters.
Of course not.
All right.
Well, they're probably brain controlled.
I'm sure that they are. Yeah. I mean, they've already said that.
Oh, are they?
Yeah,
okay.
By Brainiac.
Yeah, it's Brainiac.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know who it was.
Yeah.
I was it's not Starro, clearly, which I think would have been a better time.
They've already confirmed that. Now, I'm sure some of my lack of interest is because I don't really care about the Suicide Squad. And I feel like DC especially has, over the last several years, it's almost quit trying to make fetch happen with the Suicide Squad. But I know that some people like it, so.
All right, we're going to move on because we still got more news.
Oh, God.
PlayStation Plus was also announced at the State of Play. At least Premium. Sorry, not Premium. Extra and Essential. I still don't like those names. So Essentials, you're getting Battlefield 2042 and Code Vein, as well as an Xbox game? Minecraft Dungeons is coming to PlayStation Plus.
It's just a little bit weird.
Hold on, it gets weirder. Plus and Extra also get Tchia, which we talked about, Immortals Phoenix Rising, Rainbow Six Extraction, Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, and Ghostwire Tokyo, which is also another Xbox game.
Xbox game. That's true. Yep.
True. Which this is obvious because if you remember, Deathloop came to PlayStation Plus exactly the time that Xbox finally gets the game. So my guess is the Xbox release date is the same day as the PlayStation Plus release date.
And when is that?
March 24th, I think, is the anniversary of Ghostwire coming out.
Okay.
So
I'm excited for that one. I actually want to play it.
I like that game. I know Jay didn't like it as much as I did, but I really enjoyed that game, and I will probably revisit it on Xbox. So. Nearly the entirety of the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom art book has leaked onto the internet, so spoilers abound for that.
Yeah, I looked at all of it.
Well, I don't want to hear it.
I'm just gonna say.
Nope.
One
don't
thing.
say
Hold
nothing.
on. It has no details. I'm not the people that are like, this looks like DLC, completely wrong.
Super Mario Brothers movie.
Can I just for a second spend a second on that complaint? Because I see that complaint all the time. And it's a sequel. Right. I feel like so many people anymore criticize a sequel for looking or playing like the first one. It's a sequel.
They did that with God of War.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be radically different. They can be different enough that it makes it worth playing, but they shouldn't be radically different.
No.
To me, when I saw the trailers, I saw things that I'm like, that looks brand new, that looks really interesting and stuff. And I was seeing a lot of people saying, like, this just looks like more of the same. And if that's your worry, I'm telling you right now, boy, I saw some stuff that I'm like, yeah, no, that wasn't there.
All right.
And I didn't even look at all of it.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I know he's terrible.
What did he say? What did he say?
He's never finished the first game.
Wow.
Dude, I've never beaten one of the Divine Beasts. I made it to a Divine Beast, but never actually beat it.
Oh my god!
Kick him off the show, Ken.
Jesus.
Come back when you're done.
Super Mario Brothers movie Direct has been set for March 9th. There's more directs for this movie than there are for certain games. It's crazy.
So when I read this title, because this is one of the few things I saw while I was in my head dealing with mental stuff, I totally was like, wait, they're streaming it already? And then I went, oh, no, I'm just dumb.
Pokemon.
Didn't realize they were doing Nintendo Direct.
Pokemon Presents is also scheduled for this week. So, new Pokemon game? Probably.
I would say DLC for the Scarlet and Violet.
I mean, that may be there, but I guarantee you it's time for the off Pokemon game.
Yeah, that'll be coming out in November.
Black and White remastered or
no,
remade,
the off one. They'll announce the new Pokemon later.
No,
year.
Black and White is an old game.
No. I was talking to Terrence. Terrence said the new one's coming out in November. I was like, no. That's a different.
Yeah, this will be like the remakes of Diamond and Pearl, but they'll do Black and White or something.
Yeah, that's what this will be. And then Nintendo says they're skipping E3. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which, right. I mean, isn't much of a surprise because it seems everybody's skipping E3.
Yeah, like none of the big three.
Ubisoft's like, we'll be there. And it's like, yeah, we know.
Yeah, nobody cares.
We know. Go sit down, Ubisoft.
Ubisoft, who's like, every launch of a console, they're like, here's some games. It's like stuff they've already made, or it's like a shitty remake of Far Cry. I'm looking at you, the Wii.
All right, we're gonna
Red
do
Steel.
Some crazy numbers. Elden Ring has sold 20 million copies.
Crazy. Awesome.
20 million.
Deserves it.
That is bananas.
I have to just look this up for a second because there was a number. Ace Attorney just released their number.
Ace Attorney is 9.8 million
That's
copies.
What it was. It's just for the whole series.
Yeah.
Elden Ring's one game.
9.8 million?
Yeah, for every game. Doki Doki Literature Club has broke 1 million. Hogwarts Legacy hit 12 million in 2 weeks.
You know what I mean? It's just sad when you see
Bananas.
Ace Attorney make 9 million for what, over 20 years now?
Then
it's like Harry Potter game, 12 million.
All right, here's a crazy one. The Sons of the Forest hit 2 million sales after 48 hours.
I saw that, and I was like, damn, I want to play this game. I don't want to play on PC.
Have you played the original? Anybody? Has anybody
No,
played the original?
I've seen videos of it, but I've
I've
never played it.
Yeah, like
I've
seen videos.
Fucking terrifying. It's got some of the best AI in the
Yeah, it looks like
it's a survival game mixed with a horror game, correct?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're on a plane crash and a giant red man steals your son, and you are Survivor Man, and there are tribal people on the island that you're on, and some of them are like savage they'll come at you and attack you, but most of them, when you first see them, they're just observing you, and it's really fucking creepy. Night is dark, like it is just pitch black because there's no artificial light. So, and you're in a forest, so you're making fire, and like that's the only thing you can see, and you can hear the things out there. And then some of the other creatures, there's some real body horror stuff. But that game, I don't want to say leaves on a cliffhanger. There was originally a different ending. It's been changed, but the canon ending of that, I think, is supposed to be the intro for this, unless they've changed that idea. But yeah, that game is terrifying, so I'm not surprised. The first game was kind of a huge success.
And then Deathloop has now officially hit 5 million players. There's your numbers. Atler Marine Remake, The Alchemist of Salberg, launches on July 13th. It took me a lot to say that. Terra Nil launches on March 28th on PC and Netflix. Yep, that's where we are. Layers of Fear is out this June. Lies of P got a release date for August. Read-only memory.
I'm actually interested in that game.
Pinocchio Souls.
Yeah.
Read-only memories. Neurodiver is summer 2023.
Neurodiver.
That's right.
I hope that when you die in the Pinocchio game, your nose gets longer. That's how they handle it.
That should be the easy mode. Is like your nose is like super long.
Just every time you die, it grows a little longer.
That'd be hilarious.
That's part of the game mechanic, not the nose thing, but lying to NPCs does something.
Oh,
that's hilarious.
Interesting.
Yeah, you have to like make up lies. Yeah.
El Paso Elsewhere was announced for fall 2023. It looks like Max Payne, kind of. The Good Life is getting its first DLC with Behind the Secret Door of Rainy Woods. I forgot that game existed. I'll be honest with you. That's the new game from Swery.
Yeah.
So, Mighty Doom, which is a roguelike Doom game, coming March 21st.
So it's funny, I saw you post about this as I browsed the chat quickly, and I thought, so on my Android phone I could download it right now, because it's out in Canada. Mobile games are weird.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, oh, this looks neat, and then they said Rogue in the trailer.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm out.
I watched the
It's out
gameplay.
in Canada?
Yeah, and I was on Android anyways, yeah, and it was like somebody in the reviews said, yeah, it was fun, and then it just got to a point where it's like you can't get any further without paying. I'm like, well,
that sounds like most mobile games.
Yep, I'm out.
Yep.
Hold on, let me see if
There's a reason I continue to play Survivor IO, because I have played it forever and have not spent a single dime.
And that's so rare these days, man.
Continuing with the trend of PS4 and Xbox One being phased out, Microsoft announced the DLC for Forza Horizon 5 called Rally Adventure, only on Xbox Series X and PC.
Yep.
Yeah, it's about that time.
Yep.
About to start now.
UFO Robot Grindizer, The Feast of the Wolves.
That's not a real name.
That's the name of the game. And there's also one called The Grey Hill Incident. I think those are both Alien games.
Wait, is the Grey Hill incident the one?
The one you sent?
I think that's the Grey Hill incident.
Oh, that
game.
Oh yeah, I would play that.
Oh,
we're gonna play that.
That's a big.
Is that coming to Xbox?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm definitely playing that one.
June 9th, 2023 is what the release date says. Dude, that's a lot of no.
That's gonna scare
that
the shit out of me.
Good.
I'm not gonna lie.
And I don't get scared by gray aliens, but the way that they move and like get up and stuff and
yeah, I hadn't even heard about that game till you sent that. That looked super. Like I'm interested.
I saw a trailer for that probably mid last year, and I said, "Ooh, this looks creepy," and then I forgot about it.
Yeah,
Nice.
This game's gonna freak me out. I can tell already. Diablo 4 open beta, March 24th through the 26th. People who pre-order will get early access on March 17th through the 19th.
Woo!
Will your progress carry over?
It's a beta, so probably not.
No, it doesn't. I read that in the little FAQ.
All right, some quick hitters. Evo lineup. Street Fighter 6, Guilty Gear Strive, Dragon Ball Z Fighters, Tekken 7, King of Fighters 15, Melty Blood, Mortal Kombat 11, and Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Mortal Kombat 12 has been confirmed by
Bloomberg.
A phone call.
Yeah.
By an earnings call, and Ed Boon, being Master Troll, went to Twitter and immediately said, "Did y'all hear about that Injustice announcement?"
Man. Hey, you know what?
Imagine being him and having like some plan for the reveal that lives up to the reveal for MK12, and just
happening. Not only that, but I don't know if you know the details.
Ruined.
Dude was at DICE, and it was his birthday.
Oh,
he was at a convention and got the news via Twitter.
Wow,
that's dope.
Yeah. And it's out this year, by the way. So, Game of the Year confirmed. We're good. Golden.
They're going to announce it at EVO, I bet.
EVO, most likely, because E3 is just, you know.
Well, and even if they were going to announce it at E3, it's already out there now, so they might as well just do it at EVO.
Yeah.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't do, like, a official announcement over the next couple weeks. Just to be like, it's coming. Let's just go ahead and put the trailer out, whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of leaks, we got leakies. Starfield announcement this week for the showcase. That's what I'm hearing.
The actual date, maybe.
Well, they're going to announce the date of They're going to announce the date of the showcase, where we will get the date of the game.
I can see that because I think I said it'll probably be in March.
Yeah, I think it'll be, let's say, the third week of March. That's my guess. Also, according to the VGC podcast, Konami has a pretty big E3 planned, which includes a new Castlevania, Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, and as far as the older Metal Gear Solid titles, they said that Konami doesn't really know how they're going to bring them back, but they plan to. So, and then this
Castlevania, huh?
Yeah, Castlevania is the furthest along, and it will be the first announced as a brand new big game. So.
Curious if the design route they take.
Over under on it being PlayStation exclusive.
No.
Because you already know the Metal Gear one is probably PlayStation exclusive. Does Sony pay for both? Because they paid for Silent Hill too.
They'll pay for it. Yeah, Konami probably gave them a first look. I'm like, listen, this is what we got. What you want? And they're like, we'll take all of it. Like they probably got it.
That's I hate that. I hate exclusive
If anyone
deals.
doesn't end up exclusive, it'll just be Castlevania. Like, I think the other Metal Gear will probably just end up being. But yeah, Castlevania has the most likely chance of.
I bet you Metal Gear is the Blue Point game, and it's Sony exclusive for at least a year.
I can see it.
But it's Metal Gear Solid 3?
Yes,
3.
It's 3.
Why? Enough with reporting 3 to fucking shit. I have 3 on my fucking 3DS. Remake the first game, god damn it.
How about just release 4 from fucking Purgatory?
Yeah.
I just want them to release the 2 NES games that I know the majority of players have not played, and let's see Snake's story from the beginning. It'll make
you don't want the NES games. You want the MSX games.
Nobody wants any of those games.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
Snake's Revenge.
The original ones. Yeah, no. I know. I want Metal Gear, not Snake's Revenge. That he didn't even work on that one.
No.
Yeah, no. I want the original because those were the ones I played. The ones that I was about to call him Itagaki Hideo. The ones that he worked on. Like I want those two. They can remaster them. Like I mean, that's money. Like you put Snake out there just by redoing them. But whatever. Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm exhausted, but that is all the news.
There's a lot today.
Almost 3 hours. Let's get that email read.
Yeah, I'm going to read the email since you're here now, and then we'll get out of here. Yeah. Also, I did not forget about the Horizon code. I'm going to announce that on Twitter this week.
No tweets?
No tweets. I saw Drew retweeted it 16 minutes ago, and I was like, well.
It's me.
Kurt sends an email titled Porkins, which is a weird thing. In regards to the whole Hogwarts Legacy controversy, I'd say if you can't review a game based solely on the merits of the game, you have no business reviewing that particular game. Write an opinion piece if you must, but give the game a score of 1 out of 10 based on someone you don't like, who isn't even involved in the game other than owning the IP license, is ridiculous. And I never bother with a review from that person again. When I read a review, I want to know about the game and not whatever perceived grievances one holds based on their social, cultural, or political ideology. Note, before Anthony goes on a 20-minute rambling rant, assuming he hasn't already interrupted to do so, I'm not talking about whatever game he mentioned that he gave a review score of 1. I'm referring to the reviewer Terrence Bitchin, who gave Hogwarts Legacy a 1. Disclaimer, I give 0 hoots for anything Harry Potter related and have no desire to play it. People can feel however they want about a game, boycott it or not boycott it, but when they start telling me or others what to do based on their feelings, nah dog, that rooster don't be fucking the hens in this coop.
I completely agree.
What? Okay, so I thought you titled the thing Porkins.
No, the email came to me and it says the subject line is Porkins.
Oh, that's fucking weird.
Right?
Okay.
Maybe it was because he was saying like some heavy stuff and he was trying to bring some levity to it. Like he was trying not to offend.
I thought that was an inside joke between me and Ken.
Yeah, there's a whole thing about
anytime I hear that, I just hear the Family Guy, because obviously he grew up in Star Wars, but the Family Guy version is like, I'm in some trouble here.
I was thinking it's because it was about Hogwarts and Porkins.
Oh, yeah, okay, there it is. Look.
Okay.
Got it. That makes more sense.
You need somebody outside the norm. Get that one.
I know about the Porkins joke as well.
Yes, that's why it was weird to me. I was like, is it?
I pretty much agree. Like, unless it's like literally because the game is a predatory piece of shit, which is funny because I do have to. I got a message back from the modder who did Wonder Boy, and that was the game that I gave a 1. The previous Wonder Boy collection, not the current one, and it's funny. So I looked up the reviews. I'm like, I'm curious to see if anybody else has had the same complaints. And boy, there's a lot of 5 scores of 5 for that new Wonder Boy collection that's actually complete, from like Nintendo Life and other people saying, well, it's really shitty how this game was sold, except that I've been screaming to the heavens about the way that company does that shit all the time for years now, and it's annoying to hear and it's annoying to repeat myself. And finally, it looks like people might be paying attention, but it's one thing, like, because to me that's not different from microtransactions. Literally,
microtransactions. Those are my favorite.
Microtransactions infesting a game and ruining it. So, if they were trying to make you double dip on a game, that's a shitty business practice, and you shouldn't support it because it's not consumer friendly. So they're making you buy a game that's unfinished to then have to rebuy the full version later on. So I thought it was fair there. But yeah, like it was weird. That was a really weird review to read from that person about Hogwarts Legacy, because as much as I have an issue with the author, if I were forced to review the game, I would maybe have a paragraph on that issue. Not
I think this
the
is
whole thing be about that person, because at the end of the day, any consumerism under capitalism is going to be morally bankrupt. That's just how, unfortunately, capitalism works.
for sure. And I feel like it's coming out more and more lately. Like I know Hogwarts kind of got let off the hook after Atomic Heart came out because there was controversy around that. And I agree. Like, if you want to boycott it and you don't want to like engage in it, fine. I'm totally cool with it. I get it. I totally understand where you're coming from, and I respect it. But don't make people who just want to enjoy the game feel like crap because they're playing it.
Because I still say that radicalizes people to find solace with those who do think those evil thoughts. Right?
Exactly.
Sure.
Because you're like, man, you're just, I wouldn't even think it like that. But you over here, all I'm doing is playing the game. Like, it's just.
Yeah, and then the other side says, that, you know what, those people, don't listen to them. They're bad.
Right.
And they become friendly, and that's how it sort of seeps in. And you know what, like, most people, I think, will realize, like, I'm not going to really side with these people, because I see your other shit, but all it takes is a couple people to, and they've won, right? Because they've just gotten stronger by having more people, and the middling people don't agree with those that are yelling at them. So it's just this. It's not beneficial to do that. It's fine to educate people and let them know, like, here's the problems we have with this game, and that's fair, and it's totally fair to boycott stuff. But you know, what benefit at the end of the day does it have to give the game a 1? And call people that play it bad and all this stuff? There's just no cultural benefit to doing that. You know, if I listen, I don't like Woody Allen for reasons of Woody Allen. I don't watch his movies. I'm not out there yelling at people that watch his movies that how dare you. It's up to you at the end of the day to make those decisions, because again, any sort of consumerism is got parts in other things. So with Atomic Heart, because I talked about it and I was negative on it, but I mean, like, I actually do like the game. What do you want a Russian company to say? You know what I mean? Like,
well, I do want them to take the racist cartoon out. I do want that.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean,
that should go.
That should go for sure.
But it is, well, but that's another thing though. Culturally, do they understand the sensitivity of that?
I mean,
or is they reference?
I mean, it's 2023.
You're correct.
Yeah,
you're correct. But how? You know what I mean? Like, how much media do they consume that has that message? Because it's not like Native Americans are just rampant in Russia, right? Like, that's not how that works. So you have to understand that, like, yeah, they shouldn't have had that there, and it's a bad move in 2023. But at the same time, like, they work under a different set of cultural circumstances. So let them make the error and fix it, rather than condemning them at the stake for it. And if it happens again, well, then now it's a pattern.
Also,
right?
Just as a funny aside, Ryan, we talked about with that game, like, how much of that stuff was thrown against the wall 10 years ago when this game started, and just kind of got left in like a garbage truck or something.
I'm sure. Yep.
And but like the thing with like that is like asking Chinese companies to be against China, right? Like, it's not going to happen because of, you know, retaliation from the government.
Don't really want to get shot in the head.
Yeah, you know, like you know.
So I'll say this, because I keep my mouth shut about most of this stuff and just watch it play from the background. If everyone didn't play a video game because somebody who worked on the game was a piece of shit, we wouldn't play any video games.
No, I don't believe.
They're everywhere.
Unless you get that one game made by one person who was just a cool dude.
Yeah.
And like, but then like you go further, and it's like the electronics in your consoles. Is it made by Foxconn? Foxconn, again, we go back to the, like, your phone that you tweet your stuff from has a lot of problems with how the minerals are dug up and the batteries are made. It's just like,
yeah.
At the end of the day, I can only ask that you be aware.
There you go.
Oh, I'm aware. I'm aware that everything that I use is made by shitty people.
But you know what I mean, and decide where your boundaries are.
Sure. If you, like I said, if you don't want to play Harry Potter because of how you feel about J.K. Rowling, awesome. More power to you.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's fair. But the only issue with that review was that it was nothing about the game. It was about the woman. And what they did put in the game, and I realize reviews as a reviewer is totally objective, but if you read what she said about it, about the graphics looking like they were from PlayStation 3 and Xbox and actually play that game?
No.
That's a fucking lie.
That is not true at all. Like, I played that game. That minecart ride at the beginning is impressive as shit.
Right? And it only gets more so when you see stuff. Like, so you literally just took out your hate of this woman or this whatever on this game. And that's not fair. Like, that's not what you're supposed to do. But that's where I'm at.
They were just taking digs at that game and trying to take moral high ground or something.
Yeah,
it's garbage. It's garbage journalism. I'm sorry.
And it also generates clicks, and I don't actually remember what site that was.
I don't
want to guess. I think I have a good idea, but because I don't know for sure, I'm not going to say it. It wasn't like any of the big. It wasn't IGN. It wasn't GameSpot. It wasn't Polygon. It wasn't Kotaku. Wasn't any of those four. That's all I'll say. Just because I know that two of those get some flack for being that way sometimes. But to me, it's like, okay, but why did you have to be the one to review it?
Yeah, I 100%. The only person I thought of to review Harry Potter on this site would be Terrence. He likes Harry Potter, and he's interested in the game, and like...
And I know I'm repeating something I said.
It was Wired, by the way. It was Wired.
Okay. So I do want to say one... So I was wrong. Glad I didn't say it. I do want to say one thing that I said last week, though. It is absolute... Like, I understand. Like, there are things where it's like, do you... I'm going to use Kanye West, because I think I used Kanye West as an example last time. Like, if you're listening to his music... I don't dislike you. It's just one that's like, I'm not really comfortable listening to his stuff. And like,
sorry, I have a yelling child in the background.
Yeah, okay, but when you have something that's definitely a product for kids, and a lot of the people that played it grew that are playing this game grew up with it, whether you be a young adult or a child when you started reading them. That is harder to separate yourself from than something that you have consumed as an adult and are choosing to move away from. Because, unfortunately, books and media are very influential on how you are growing up. And so, especially with Harry Potter, as much as I don't like J.K. Rowling, and I mean, I do not like that woman, I think it's horrible that the way that some people who have been playing this game and enjoying it have been treated by others. That is unacceptable. It's very sad that this is the way this game is talked about.
All right. Oh wow! Somebody leave?
Yes. Wombat had to go.
Yeah, we officially reached the tab.
I've rambled too much. Yeah. I promise I won't be on next week. It was a short one again.
We just crossed that 3-hour mark, and we're going to end it here. No, but this has been a good show. Lots of stuff going on. Lots of games. Lots of fucking news. It's crazy. If you want to send us an email, which we appreciate always, podcast@ztgd.com. Follow us on Twitter, ZTGD Radio. It's still there. I got to fix the 2-factor because, that's the thing.
And thank you for the email.
Yeah, absolutely. I always appreciate emails. They're always fun. If you want to follow us, I'm at ZTGD. Terrence is at Lord Magnus. Ryan is at Wombat RP. Drew is at DML Fury. Anthony, he ain't on Twitter because he's a smart man. Also, Phoenix Down. Check it out. Like a Dragon. How many more you got?
2 more episodes. We're past halfway. So.
Okay. So hopefully the grind doesn't kill you.
Next episode's just, we're grinding still. All right, 5 minutes.
Still grinding the champion tower. So.
The longest part will be the music in the intro and Drew going, hey, everybody, it's time for another episode of Phoenix Down. This is episode blah, blah, blah. And on the show today, we have Matt. We're playing Yakuza Like a Dragon. We still be grinding. All right, see ya. And then it plays the outro music.
All right, we out. But that's it for this week, unless anybody has anything else, and even if you do, I'm going to cut you off anyway. So we're getting out of here. Peace, bitches.
Alrighty. And it goes something like this.